Our Father which art in heaven.
Our Father which art in heaven.
Hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done in earth.
Thy will be done in earth.
As it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Forgive us our debts.
And forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation. But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory forever.
Glory forever.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
For he is good.
Good.
His mercy shall endure forever.
His mercy shall endure forever.
Praise the Lord, God of Israel.
Praise the Lord, the God of Israel.
For he is good. His mercy shall endure forever. These things we pray in Jesus' mighty name. The Holy One of Israel. The Mighty One of Jacob. The King of Kings. The Lord of Lords. Amen. Today's scripture reading will be Psalms 82. God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods. How long will ye judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Selah. Defend the poor and the fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. But ye shall die like men, and fall like one of the princes. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all nations. That was Psalms 82. May the Lord add a blessing to the reading, hearing, and doing of his word. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, peace to everybody that's here in Jesus' name. As always, it is a pleasure to stand before you to present the gospel. Those that are viewing online. So today we're going to do a simple lesson. And mainly because I'm going to be doing this lesson again next week with the short version. And the title of the lesson, as you see, is Israel, the Church of Jesus, Part 1. Why is it called Part 1? Because today in this which says, somebody says 2 parts.
Part 2.
No, because today in this part of Israel, the Church of Jesus, we're going to look at pretty much the origin of church. And we're going to see like where this church came from. A lot of times people like to say, you know what I'm saying, especially when you get to talking to people about what you're doing, like where did this start? You know what I'm saying? And many of us may not know where the Israel, the Church of Jesus started. Actually, the Israel, the Church of Jesus by name and title started 1996. Spun off from Israel of God, which started probably in the late 70s. But really, the Hebrew Israelite movement that exists in America started as we know of what the Hebrew Israelite movement is. And what I mean by that is how you see all these garbs and, you know, different, you know, this whole wave started in the early late 1800s by William Crowley or something to that effect. You could Google it. You know, I think it was in one of the Carolina states or Virginia or somewhere on the coastal region. And then, you know, I know that the Israel of God and Brother Danny came along through their teacher, which was Brother Stern, who learned from a man named Casey. And in each situation of our church, in that process, you know, the understanding continued to elevate. Because the reality is, we learned in the Bible that it was a time and a point where we were in what's called a famine in the land. And in this famine that we was in, the word of God wasn't being preached. What do you mean by that? Like, for example, when you came to America, for those of us that came here as slaves, some of us didn't do that, right, Jude? Right. But for those of us that came here as slaves, we came here with Islam. So we came here speaking another tongue, and we came here with really another God and another book and another religion. And once we got here, our slave masters turned around and gave us our God because we was rejecting our God to start with. That's kind of how it go down. So at any rate, so from that slavery movement to the next 50 years is where you get the start of the Hebrew Israelite as we see, as well as from slavery, 1860s, well, really a little before then. That's when you get your whole evangelistic as well as your whole Adventist movement. All took place around the rapture and things of that nature. All this stuff took place pretty much, from the 1850s all the way until like the 1900s. The establishment of modern day religion, the establishment of modern day songs. But here's the thing. What we're going to learn today is Israel has always been the church of Jesus, even when Israelites as a whole nation wasn't doing their job. It was still always the church of God or the church of Jesus. Then when we look at our title, we're going to see, and we're going to go in the Bible, we're going to find Israel, and we're going to find the church, and we're going to find Jesus, and we're going to find the connection in them all. So that's why this is part one, because there's more to church than what we're going to look at today. So at any rate, we're going to go ahead and pick this up in Matthew chapter 16. So my question to you guys is, does anybody in here know the first time the word church is used in the Bible?
Well, I ain't gonna
cheater,
but I've been through this.
Well, let's start here, Matthew chapter 16, and we're gonna look at this. This is the first time that we find church in the Bible. There's one other time that we find the word church in the in this particular book, and in both cases, we'll read this one first. Matthew chapter 16. Let's pick it up at verse 18. When you get there, go ahead and read.
And I say also unto thee, thou art Peter, and upon this rock will I build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
All right, so that's the first time we see the word church in the Bible, brothers and sisters. Now, does anybody know when it says here, I say also unto thee, that thou art Peter, and upon this rock will I build my church? Does anybody know who this rock is that we're talking about? Jesus. All right, that's smart. Many people would say that this rock was Peter because his name means rock to some degree, and that with his name being Peter, meaning rock, that they want to build the church off of Peter. And so what has happened is Peter is what you doing, Dennis? Okay, we're gonna wait on you. Yeah. And everybody kind of all got eyes on you. So all right. So they always like to say that Peter is the origin of the church or started the church, but in reality, that's not what's taking place here. So again, he's saying, and I say also unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock will I build my church. Christ is the rock, and he's gonna build the church upon Jesus. But go ahead, keep reading.
And I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven.
Oh, I'm sorry. And the gates of hell should not prevail against it. So that's how we know this is not talking about Peter. That this rock that we're talking about is Christ. But we're going to prove this some more. Let's go back to verse 13. And I'll tell you when to read. Verse 13. Matthew chapter 16 and verse 13. You gonna stand right there, bro? Like we are really waiting on you, right? All right, here we go. Matthew chapter 16. Let's go back to verse 13 so we can get this in content. So we can understand this ain't got nothing to do with the popes or nothing, because this is the foundation for the Catholic Church. This scripture we saw in verse 18. So let's go back to verse 13 and start reading. When you get there, go ahead.
When Jesus came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? And they said, some say that thou art John the Baptist, some Elijah, and others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. He saith unto them, but whom say ye that I am?
Go ahead.
And Simon Peter answered and said, thou art Christ, the Son of the living God.
All right, so he asking the disciples, who do men say I am? And he's like, man be trying to say you some of everybody, but you Christ. Now, when you say thou art Christ, it's saying that word Christ means anointed or Messiah. And the only people who get to carry that badge or title usually are the kings. So, you know, this man born in the manger to Mary and Joseph. Now, we understand with hindsight, Mary and Joseph were both royalty. But they wasn't comprehending. This was after, you know, the children of Israel have been into captivity. People don't know who Mary and Joseph is. Like that comes because we read in the Bible because the disciples understood later who they were and wrote about them. Okay. And so for Peter to get this information, he said, yo, Peter, only God could have showed this to you for you to understand my question. All right, keep going.
And Jesus answered and said unto him, Blessed art thou, Simon Barjona, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven.
So this is really where the statement is going. Now, the statement that the world done built a false church on came from the fact that Peter understood who Jesus was. And watch what he tell him next. Go ahead.
And I say also unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
He's like, well, I'm going to tell you, Peter, like upon this rock, and we're going to see who this rock is. I'm going to build my church. Christ is this rock, actually. And he said, I'm going to build the church based off of me. All right. Go ahead, keep reading.
And I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven.
And you going to have the keys. So you're going to be the doorkeeper. You're going to be able to, people going to come and enter in through you. Just like when Jesus was here, it was like, yo, in order for you to get salvation, you got to come through me. Well, now Peter and James and Paul and John, these are the people we got to go through. That's why we read their writings. They hold the keys to the kingdom. And that's what he's telling me. He said, and I will give unto you, Peter, the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Go ahead.
And whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth.
And in addition to all that, he says, look, whatever rules that you make as a church on earth. So y'all know we got to squeeze it in. You know what I mean? And on top of all of that, we working, but we're gonna be at max for a minute. So y'all gonna have to learn how to get a little adjusted. So he said, and I will give unto you, Peter, the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And whatsoever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. So right now, he is setting the precedent for what church is. Meaning, like what you bound on earth, there's another time that church is in the Bible. Finish that, and then we'll go to the other time.
And whatsoever.
Not the only other time, the second place I should say. But go ahead, finish that.
And whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Then charge he his disciples that they should tell no man that he was Jesus the Christ.
Now turn over to Matthew chapter 18. We're going to find the next time church is in the Bible. So the first time church is mentioned, we're talking about the word, because we're going to find the origin of the church here in the scriptures. But the first time it was mentioned was there, and it was saying that I'm going to build my church upon me, and I'm going to give you the keys to the kingdom, Peter. That's what Jesus said. Here's the second time it's in the Bible. Read verse 15 and 16 and 17. Matthew chapter 18, verse 15, 16, and 17. When you get there, go ahead.
Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his faults between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of two or three witnesses every word may be established.
Go ahead.
And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church.
So now this is the next time that we see this word church in the Bible. So, and what we'll learn about, we're going to see what the church is. But keep reading.
But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as an heathen man and a publican.
So we're going to see who the church is, okay? Leave the lights alone. Thank you. Let's go over to Isaiah chapter 8, please. Isaiah chapter 8. Y'all hot from the lights, please? Oh, no. We need we lit up in here. We got to be able to see. Sister Lisa wear glasses. She can't see if you cut the lights off. So we all need to be able to see. We need all the lights on. Huh? Man, look here. Y'all better learn how to dress cool. Y'all better learn how to drink water. It's summertime. You know what I mean? Like we cut the air on, but that's about it. Isaiah chapter 8. Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all like this. Y'all have been blessed over the last 3-4 months. Try being in my house on the Sabbath.
What?
Yeah. Like just at my house. Like, man, it don't matter how nice the air was that we brought. It still didn't matter. We were just in there like this. So this ain't bad. Isaiah chapter 8. Isaiah chapter 8. And we're going to pick it up at verse 11. So now, again, what we're doing here is we're going to get some understanding on this rock. Because he said, because what the Catholic Church tries to say is that, you know, that rock was Peter. And that's what the foundation is for the Catholic Church. Now, Jesus said, upon this rock will I build my church. And he was going to give him unto you, Peter. I'm going to give you the keys of the kingdom. All right. Now we're going to go to Isaiah chapter 8. Let's pick it up at verse 12. When you get there, go ahead. Or 11, okay. I'm sorry.
For the Lord spake thus to me with a strong hand and instructed me that I should not walk in the way of this people, saying.
So when he's saying the Lord instructed me with a strong hand that I should not walk in the way of this people, he's talking about the way of us, like how the rest of us is functioning. Go ahead.
Say ye not a confederacy to all them to whom his people shall say, a confederacy, neither fear ye their fear, nor be afraid.
Right, he's like, look, don't be scared with these folks. Don't be afraid of them. Don't be making leagues and packs and join confederate with people. You know what I'm saying? Like, he like, don't do that. Like, don't deal with these other people. This is what he's telling Israel here. Go ahead.
Sanctify the Lord of hosts himself.
Sanctify the Lord of hosts. So you putting your God on another platform, another pedestal than all others. Go ahead.
And let him be your fear. And let him be your dread.
Right. And we did this even through this whole COVID season. We was like, man, we're gonna sanctify the Lord of hosts, and he gonna be our fear. He gonna be our dread. We ain't gonna worry about, you know, what the rest of the world on. Go ahead.
And he shall be for a sanctuary, but for a stone of stumbling.
Notice what it's saying. And it's saying, and he shall be for a sanctuary. Who is he? Actually, this he is Jesus. And he shall be for a sanctuary. Go ahead.
But for a stone of stumbling and for a rock of offense to both the house of Israel, and for a gin, and for a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem.
All right, so notice what it said in verse 14. It says, and he should be a sanctuary, a church. That's a sanctuary. But for a stone, now remember we read in Matthew, it said, upon this rock will I build my church, and the gates of hell should not prevail. Then he said, and here he just said, read that verse again.
And he shall be for a sanctuary, but for a stone of stumbling and for a rock of offense to both the houses of Israel.
Right, so he's going to be a stone of stumbling to both the houses of Israel. When we start talking both the houses of Israel, take Israel into a perspective of Old Covenant or Old Testament and New Covenant and New Testament. Now, we know you got to have them both. But when you take Israel, that's pretty much where you can sit us. Meaning, if you want to start talking about our Sunday Christians and all, we can call them New Testament Israelites. They still Israelites. My grandmother is an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? Now, she might not be aware, but this is not a membership that you join to be a member of the Israel Church of Jesus. You're just born that way. You know what I'm saying? Or you're not. You know, like in some cases, some of us aren't Israelites. You know what I'm saying? You are what your father is, okay? So he says, sanctify the Lord of hosts, let him be your fear, let him be your dread, and he should be a sanctuary, that's church, but for a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense to both the houses of Israel. So you got them Old Testament Hebrews. They don't believe in Jesus. So then you got the New Testament, you know, Christmas, all. So he is a stone of offense to both the houses of Israel. Okay? Now keep reading.
For a gin and for a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And many among them shall stumble and fall and be broken and be snared and be taken. Bind up the testimony, seal the law among my disciples.
And that's the whole doctrine of the church. It is the law and the testimony. You know what I mean? This is the establishment of the church. And that's why when we question, a lot of times people question, one question has come to the arena recently, which is why don't we use the Apocrypha? Where if you understand what this is just saying, he said, bind up the testimony and seal the law. So we need the law and the testament. Well, although the book was included in the 1611, as many of us are aware, it was not the Old Testament or the New Testament. It was something else written somewhere else at another time. Somebody wised up and said, yo, this don't go with the rest of that. And it was like, so we just need to come out. It's just that simple. Is the book factual was a question that was asked. If you understand the Apocrypha like you understand the Bible, it's a compilation of books. And if that be the case, then the word Apocrypha is not a factual book. As a matter of fact, not only is it not a factual book, but if you go and do some homework on the origin of the word comes from a word that says something that is believed to be true and is not. So again, the Apocrypha, the church and the sanctuary in Jesus is all here, including the doctrine. The doctrine, he's saying, bind up the testimony, seal the law among my disciples. Now let's go on over here to Peter now. So we saw in Matthew chapter 16, where we first see the word, and that Jesus was telling Peter that the church was going to be established off of him upon that rock. But then we went over here into Isaiah, and we began to see that, look, this rock that was going to be established as a church, he's going to be a stone of stumbling to both the houses of Israel. Because they don't want that sanctuary. They don't want to sanctify God. Okay? Now we over here, 1 Peter, baby. Because if I remember correctly, it might have been. It was 1 Peter? Let's see. First Peter. Yep, yeah, you good. All right, 1 Peter chapter 2. It's going to be a mistake somewhere in here, though. And let's pick it up in verse 4. 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 4. We got a couple more chairs in here, but woo. Yeah, let's make sure we get us a nice picture so we can show Elijah. Even though he already knows, but yeah, we can go ahead and show the whole rest of the world. This place is not gonna hold us long. All right. 1 Peter chapter 2 and pick it up at verse 4. When you get there, go ahead.
To whom coming, as unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of God and precious.
All right, so we're gonna begin to discuss this stone. Now remember, and look, it's gonna be other times, like in Daniel, there was a statue. And I'm not sure who had the dream. Maybe it was Jedaiah. Was it Nebuchadnezzar that had that dream? Okay, well, yeah, because it was you're absolutely right, because he had the feet of bronze, the head of gold and breastplate of silver, and legs was bronze, and the iron mixed with clay. So and at the end of that story, you're gonna see that a rock came and hit that statue on the foot. And that's a story in the book of Daniel. But really, I'm saying all that to say that you're going to find that quite often Jesus is referred to as the rock in the Bible. This is why, not Dwayne Johnson, though. They'll call him Dwayne. No, but really, this is why you got songs like Jesus is the rock in the weary land. You know what I'm saying? Things of that. You never heard that song? Oh, I bet anybody heard that song before? Okay, so I ain't by myself. There we go. Yeah, we some old Baptist folks. We went to church folks as a kid. Yeah. But at any rate, though, that's why you have those things, because in the Bible, Jesus is a rock. Okay, and which makes sense, and he's showing you here because he's saying like this rock, because when you build a building, everything you need a good strong foundation. And so it's saying, like, imagine if we built this big old hotel, that first brick that you lay down, it can't be weak because everything around is gonna be weak. And so that's what was happening in Matthew. It's like, okay, on the fact, Peter, that God revealed this to you, that's the whole foundation that we're gonna build a church upon. And I'm going to be the cornerstone. I'm going to be the foundation for this church. I'm going to be a rock of stumbling to all the houses of Israel. This is what we read in Isaiah. Now he said, to whom coming as into a lively stone, talking about Jesus, he was disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of God and precious. Go ahead, verse 5.
Ye also, as lively stones,
So he said, you lively stones too. You supposed to be mini Christ. You know, M-I-N. Go ahead.
are built up a spiritual house.
He's saying you building up a spiritual house. Go ahead.
And holy priesthood.
Right.
To offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God by Jesus Christ. Wherefore also it is contained in the scripture, behold, I lay in Zion the chief cornerstone, elect, precious, and he that believeth on him shall not be confounded.
So Jesus Christ is this chief cornerstone that's laid up in Zion. If you believe in him, so now the objective is to see what Jesus is on. You know what I mean? Like, and they see, because the world be on Jesus, but they don't be on him. They just be on his name. You know what I'm saying? They're going to make a song for him, going to make a dance for him, or whatever. But Jesus actually had instructions in the Bible of what you're supposed to do. Because what people don't realize is Jesus is the God that said, thou should not kill, thou should not steal, thou should not commit adultery. Remember the Sabbath day. We're going to see it. Keep reading.
Unto you, therefore, which believe he is precious, but unto them which be disobedient, the stone which the builders disallowed, the same is made the head of the corner.
Right. He's talking about Christ. He's the head of this church. Whether you like it or not is what he's getting at. Go ahead.
And a stone of stumbling, and a rock of offense.
And we read that in Isaiah, that Jesus was going to be a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense. Go ahead.
Even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient.
Right, and that's all the stumbling when we talking about the both houses of Israel. Because in the Old Testament, the old school Hebrew or whatever, they don't even believe Jesus. And Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No man coming to the Father but by me. And they like, he's just a man. Same as some of our Muslim brothers. Oh, he was a great prophet, but they won't give him that God. See, you got to understand what Peter did. You made this man a living legend with your statement. You put him above just being a man. You know what I mean? Well, the Muslim don't want to do that. Or some of our Old Testament Hebrew brothers, they only want to believe nothing that's in the New. Well, on the flip side, the other house of Israel, oh, we Jesus, man, we Kirk Franklin Jesus. You know what I'm saying? The wine is Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all churchy with no law. You know what I'm saying? Because what they miss is Jesus is both. He love and law. If you want to look at, I guess you want to look at like the Old Testament is the law and the New Testament is love. He the author of them both. Then doesn't matter how. You know what I mean? You can't have one without the other. You can't love me and steal from me at the same time. It just don't work. You lying to yourself if you think that. All right. So he's saying, unto you therefore, verse 7, which believe he is precious. But unto them which be disobedient, the stone which the builders disallowed, the same is made the head corner. A stone of stumbling and a rock of offense. Notice what we did. We read this already when it said a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense. Y'all remember reading that already? I hope so. That's why we got some attention problems. We just read it. And that's how that's how we do this in the Bible. We going line upon line, precept upon precept. We staying on subject matter. Go ahead, keep reading.
Even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient, whereunto also they were appointed. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people.
Notice what he's telling you. He says, but ye are a royal priesthood, a holy nation. So now what we're beginning to understand is that the Lord just called a nation priest. Like, United States of America, that's a nation. Sure ain't no priest. You know what I'm saying? Maybe police. You know what I mean? If you want to be on that scale, but we sure ain't no priest as the United States of America. He's talking to somebody here and saying that you are a holy nation. Keep reading.
That ye should show forth the praises of him who have called you out of darkness into his marvelous light.
And he said, look, and the Lord then called his people out of darkness into the light. And that's what he's doing even to this day. Go ahead, keep reading. What verse?
Verse 10, which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of God, which had not ordained mercy, but now may obtain mercy. Dearly beloved, I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lusts, which war against the soul.
All right, that's good. That's good. Let's go on over here to 1 Corinthians chapter 10. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. He called us. He said that in Peter that was a royal nation. We about to uncover the origin of church. When I say that, like when you out here, because you got to understand what we call where we are. We call where we go to church at, we call this the place where the teachers learn. You know what I'm saying? So when you go out here to the world, you gotta somebody do me a favor that can and go to YouTube and send me the link for today's lesson. Like I'll spend too much time trying to do it, and somebody's asking for it. So I don't. Oh, okay. So when you go out here and preach the gospel to the world, it's like one of the things they come at you, or one of the things they want to know is or one of the things that you need to get them to understand is what the Church of God is, and what Second Ebenezer Baptist Church or Greater Mount Moriah or whatever Lutheran Church, all those things came from Rome and from Catholicism. They don't come from the Bible. That's something that you need to help people see when you're breaking down to them the difference in what you're doing and what the Bible is saying, or what you're doing and what they're doing. What's the difference? You know what I'm saying? Like, this origin of what we're doing here, we're going to find it very shortly. So 1 Corinthians chapter 10, and let's pick it up. Thank you, bro. Let's pick it up at verse 1.
Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant, how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea, and were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea.
All right, so now Paul, that's the writer in Corinthians, he says, I don't want you to be ignorant about something. I would not have that you should be how all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea and were all baptized unto Moses. So now we're seeing where we are. We're in the days of Moses. And it said that everybody was baptized unto Moses. Go ahead.
And did all eat the same spiritual meat, and did all drink the same spiritual drink, for they drank of the spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Christ.
Again, you see here that a rock is Christ. Like it's showing you this. Like he's the rock. And it's saying that they all drank and ate from this rock, this Christ. Who is they? The people in the wilderness. What you mean the wilderness? Where the heck is the wilderness? We're talking about when the people that was down in Egypt as slaves, when they left Egypt, they went into the wilderness. Those are the people who is saying, moreover, brother, I would not that you should be ignorant how all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea and were all baptized into Moses. And the way they was baptized into Moses, when they went through that Red Sea, he split that sea open for them. And they went from hell to salvation on the other side of that sea. Because it was hell, Pharaoh was on their butt. Once they made it through and Pharaoh got destroyed in there, they were saved from Pharaoh. All right. Now, let's go to Acts chapter 7, verse 38. Acts 7 and 38. Acts 7 and 38. You're not going to turn me. So here go another time church is mentioned in the Bible. This time when you see church mentioned in the Bible, it's going to tell you the origin of where church is. Right here. So when people want to say to you, where your church started, you can be like, sure, I can take you in the Bible and show you. Let's show you. Go ahead. 7 and 38.
This is he that was in the church in the wilderness with the angel, which spake to him in the Mount Sinai, and with our fathers who received the lively oracles to give unto us.
So what we showing here is he saying right here, the church started in the wilderness. Remember when Jesus referred to the church and he was like, you take the mouth of he said basically if they don't want to hit a mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, bring them to the church. And then remember I was showing you that Jesus was the start or the foundation of the church. And those were the first 2 times church were mentioned in the Bible. Now it's showing you, because before it was called church, guess what it was called? Anybody know? I want to answer. I heard the answer. Who said it? Say it again. That's what it was. Israel. It was the nation of Israel, the congregation of Israel. That's what it was before it was ever mentioned as church. We bear witness to the first time you see church in the Bible. So what was they calling them people before then? It was just calling them Israelites. That is the church. So when people start talking, where did your church start? You can take them here, but understanding and knowing that we're talking about, because notice what it said. He had gave them a lively oracles to give unto us. Living words. All right. So now let's go to Romans chapter 11. The easy lesson, brothers and sisters, is broken up into about 3 parts. And when we're done, which I hope you can do most of the lessons that I teach, if you pay attention during the class, if you go back because you fell asleep because it got hot in class or because the baby kept crying so you couldn't pay attention, whatever the case is, when you go home and you watch it on YouTube, yeah, everything that man wants is in the palm of their hand. All the thoughts of man is right here, including the word of God and including everything else. So when you go home and you go cut on YouTube and you decide to watch the lesson again, when you're done, you should be able to take the lesson, go out here and show anybody who is the true church. That's what we're doing right here. All right. Romans chapter 11. So many people want to say, man, Israel doesn't matter anymore. Like, think about it. If you go to the next church that we find and you start talking to them and like, okay, so what about the children of Israel? It's like, it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jesus came. We're in a different dispensation. If you use stuff like those kind of words, which I'm still trying to figure out what the heck do different dispensations supposed to mean anyway. That just drives me crazy. It's like y'all just done found some new words, some big word, and y'all gonna use it anytime you can. Because, man, I'm talking about all the regular church people, when you get to talking to them, they just throw out this word. And I'm like, do you even know the definition of that word? Like, what the heck? So anyway, Romans chapter 11, pick up at 1 and 2. When you get there, go ahead.
I say then,
I can't spell it.
have God cast away his people?
So here's the question. Has God cast away his people? That's a fair question to it all. Go ahead.
God forbid.
Uh-huh.
For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of
To
Benjamin.
make sure you comprehend where he's coming from. His people is Israel. He like, yo, I'm an Israelite. I'm preaching to you. Now, this is the reason why this lesson was put together, FYI. It's Romans chapter 11. So by the time we're done, we're going to be in and out of Romans 11. Because what's going on is God is bringing the Gentile into the word here in Romans chapter 11. And in this passage, in this particular chapter, he is going to now explain what happened. So did God, because, before black and white wasn't kicking it. He's like, well, so what happened? Did God cast away his people? No. But remember, we said that the church, the first time we saw it was in Matthew 16. But prior to that, it would have been identified as the children of Israel. All right. And we saw even in Acts where he said the church in the wilderness. Who was in the wilderness? So let's go back to the wilderness. Exodus chapter 7.
Oh, want me to read too?
1 and 2? No. You ain't got to, so we're going to be back there anyway. Exodus chapter 7. That's the second book of the Bible. Exodus chapter 7. Oh, poor Nashawn. Nashawn didn't know so many people was coming to class. All the brothers didn't feel him. Are out of town, basically. And so he had to do all the work. And so Elijah come in town with 5 papers worth of work for the lesson. And he making copies, and he talking about, so I should have made more than 50. I guess they deep in Philly. Yeah, told you they couldn't fit in my house. Yeah, definitely. Exodus chapter 7. And let's pick this up at verse 14. And when you get there, go ahead and read.
And the Lord said unto Moses, Pharaoh's heart is hardened. He refuses to let the people go.
So I just want to show you something. Moses goes down. This is everybody. This is what's so amazing about the actions of God. That everybody, this happened 4,000, maybe longer than that, 4,000 plus years ago. About 4,000 years ago, about 3,000. This happened about 3,000 plus years ago, 3,500, that's where it is. So it happened that long ago, and everybody know about it. Like when I say everybody know about it, like sometimes a statement was like, it would be made, man, I was in there working like a Hebrew slave. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm just trying to show you the magnificence of God's power and what he was doing down here. That this resonated throughout time. It is fabricated into our society that we know what a Hebrew slave is. Now we might not know who they are, right? That they are us, but we identify with that. We identify with Moses. If somebody say Moses, the first thing you think is biblical. Even if they say, well, my name is Moses, then you're going to immediately think, oh, that came from the Bible. Your mama didn't think of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, this wasn't no made up name. Like, so what we're getting at is these, like everything in the Bible, people don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't know who Gideon is. You know, you walk around and say something about Gideon, they might start thinking the Gideon Bible, maybe they've been in some hotel room. But I'm saying, like, they don't immediately begin Abijah. You know, I mean, they might, you know, they might look like, where that name come from? But what I'm getting at is these events that took place back here in Exodus, it was significant for a reason. It is a reason God made it so. It is a reason that everything that played with Pharaoh played. And we're going to see something. So let's see what he's telling them here. Exodus 7:14, he said, the Lord said unto Moses, Pharaoh's heart is hard. He refuses to let the people go. Get thee unto Pharaoh in the morning. Lo, he goeth out into the water. Thou shalt stand by the river brinks. Against he come. And on the rod which was turned to a serpent shalt thou take in thy hand. Go ahead.
And thou shalt say unto him, the Lord God of the Hebrews has sent me.
Notice who God is. God identified himself as, I'm the Hebrew God. And the reason that there needs a case for identification, because all these nations got gods. The Egyptians got gods, the Sumerian got gods. So Moses coming to Pharaoh, hey, I'm coming in the name of the Hebrew God. Go ahead.
The Lord God of the Hebrews has sent me unto thee, saying, let my people go, that they may serve me in the wilderness.
Wait a minute. The church started where, y'all? And he just said, let my people go so they can do what?
Serve me.
In the wilderness. So, like, he's showing, like, this was the whole plan. He looking at the children of Israel. He's like, yo, I'm going to take you up out of there, and we're going to start church out here in the wilderness. Let's go to Exodus chapter 19. Exodus chapter 19. This is what Jesus' plan was all the way back then, was to start this church out here in this wilderness. The same church that you are a part of today. The same church with the same rules. They don't change. That's the beauty of this church. It stayed the same across the board. My church that I grew up in, it done changed since I've been alive. You know what I'm saying? Like, meaning I grew up, I went to a church in Detroit, east side of Detroit, and around the corner, and the pastor was Dr. Thomas Evans. He used to be a school superintendent in that school district or something, before he became a preacher, a pastor. He was a nice man. When he died, like in the mid-90s to late 90s, when he died, the whole church changed. So you telling me the church changed with the preacher? You see, but that's what our society is known for. When the preacher comes, like when your preacher die or whatever, like they don't even get nobody most of the time from already in the church. I never understood that. They start interviewing all these other church preachers. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what the heck? You know what I'm saying? Like, and when they come, they're gonna bring their doctor. You know what I'm saying? And they interviewing. So what do we want to tickle our ear with? Who do we want? Do we want Reverend Stotts? Or do we want, T.D. Jakes? Thomas Meeks? Which one of these guys really, make me feel good? That's what they're doing. It's an interview. Anytime you have an interview and you're the interviewer, you want the person that you interviewing to make you feel a certain type of way. And they interviewing these preachers. They ain't trying to feel bad when they done, or they ain't trying to feel like you changing my life, so I'm stop doing what I was doing. I need to feel good, because really, their job is to fill the collection plate. It's a business. They got to keep this business going. All right. So Exodus 19 verse 3. When you get there, go ahead.
And Moses went up unto God, and the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, ye seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself.
Go ahead.
Now, therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. And ye
Lord just said all this is. That includes New York City. All the earth belongs to God. He said, if you can keep my covenant. So he talking to a group of people. He talking to the people who was sitting up on the Pharaoh when he told them, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Let me get my people so they can come out here and serve God. That's who he talking to. So he telling them, for if you can keep my covenant, then I'm gonna make you a peculiar or special treasure unto me above all people. So I want you to understand, I want you to think about something. So what God just said is, I can take one nation of people and make them outshine all the rest. I can make them special, right? If you make somebody special, that means that they stand out, right? Because if you're not special, you're just normal, right? Like, I mean, it's either you're special or you're normal, or, you know, okay. So with that being said, then, so God said, I can take one group of people and make them special. Didn't he do that? Do you realize that this black people, the true Israelites, that you guys are not only the minority, you are barely a tenth of the world's population. But we sure with some hell raisers, ain't we? I mean, when I say that, like, hey, we run around here and so entitled, like we like put us on TV. We should be 1 out of 10 on TV, right? You know what I'm saying? Like we mad because we ain't on this show. We ain't, I'm just trying to get you to understand, like, and then let us not even go into sports. Anytime we touch it, y'all see the girl swimming out, they messing with her because she's special. And so now they say, oh, we have to disqualify her because she got a little too much rear end for high school swim. I'm not joking. Yeah, I am not joking. Yeah, and they disqualify her. She kept every requirement. But the point I'm saying is because we're taking over that too. I mean, it's just what happens. Like, and the Lord is saying they are special people. That's just the bottom line. You know what I'm saying? Any arena we get into, again, you got to remember, 12% of the world's population. Y'all might challenge it. You might say, oh, this one say 15%. This one. I'm just saying, okay, well, we ain't talking about a whole lot of people. 12%. If this room was 12% black, you know what it's gonna look like? A white room with about 3 black people in it. So I mean, I'm just trying to get you to understand what those numbers mean, and for he telling you here though, he has that ability to make a group of people a special people. All right. I'm not trying to say that, you know, every black man leg gonna just automatically be stronger than a white man leg. That's stupid. But just for however this plays, when it's all said and done, you see what you see. You know what I'm saying? That's what you do. You see what you see, and you can't take away from the fact that he just said, if you do something, I'm gonna make you special. Now, here's the thing. We didn't even complete doing that. But it didn't mean that, because later he made us special to the world. That's the whole point. This was a nation God made. So you got to understand something. When you start going to the table of nations, these other nations, they exist before Israel. Pretty much every nation you think to conjure up in a conversation, he's before Israel. Then all of a sudden, God makes a nation from Shem, from Abraham, from Isaac, from Jacob. Because prior to that, it was just God. If you read the Bible, God is with Shem, the son of Noah, and his sons, not a nation. You understand what I'm saying? Like, just the nation of people. So here, as we get to this point, he's like, and he should be unto me a kingdom of priests. So the Lord is saying that this nation is going to be a kingdom of priests. Now, if you as a nation are a kingdom of priests, then who are you serving in your priesthood? The rest of the world. You're supposed to be priests so Israel's job, the black man's job here, according to Exodus 19, is to be the church for the rest of the world and teach them how to find me. You do that, though. But go ahead. What verse are we at?
Verse 6.
Uh-huh.
And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel.
Uh-huh.
And Moses came and called for the elders of the people and laid before their faces all these words which the Lord commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, all that the Lord has spoken, we will do.
So, right, we was in the covenant with the Lord with this. We was like, we going to do it. Whatever you say, the children of Israel have agreed to do this. All right. Now, let's go over here to Romans chapter 11. Romans chapter 11. And wait a minute. I'm backtracking. I'm sorry. Deuteronomy 6.
I thought you was going off your notebook.
I didn't bring my notebook this time, which was good because I probably would have been. Deuteronomy. No, I got one. No, he said no. Because he know I usually read off my notebook, but I ain't bring. But I'm reading off y'all for now. I just I'm getting old, man. He's black. Deuteronomy 6:1. Deuteronomy chapter 6 and picking up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead and what's that? The fifth book of the Bible. Go ahead and read.
Now, these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which the Lord your God commanded to teach you, that ye might do them in the land, whether ye go to possess it.
So look, he's talking to this nation of Israel again. And what we're going to learn, he don't do this with nobody else. Like nowhere in Northern Africa did he grab up the nation of Islam. Or in no time did he take any of the Caesars of Rome. When he wanted to talk to Nebuchadnezzar, he gave him a dream and said, get one of them black guys and interpret it for you. You know what I'm saying? Like this was how God operated with men. He never dealt. Now, when I say that, so let's look at our world right now. Our world is Greek, right? We got Greek fraternities. Our world is Latin, or we can even say Roman, and our world is Babylonian. You know what I'm saying? Like when we say Babylonian, like even that eagle, you know, comes from Babylon, which really all come from Egypt. All right? Which really origin is Babylon to start with. That's crazy. So my point in saying that is, so which one of those nations did he ever hold a conversation with? Like we can name these, I'm saying we can look at the world and identify the whole, what the world is. Like when you go down to Louisiana, they got what, French Quarters, so you pretty much know what that is. You know what I'm saying? Like the what our world is, it is evident. Our buildings are evident. You know what I'm saying? Like you can look at the White House and buildings of that nature. They come from a certain era. The White House and that stuff Greek. That's the same way they was building their Greek pantheons and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Same thing as the obelisks that you see over there. All that type of stuff. You understand what we're getting at? So what the point is, all these nations that still exist today indirectly, which one of them did he talk to though? Who's supposed to give us the religion? And see, that's really the whole thing. This was the only nation that he gave the religion to. He said, now these are the commandments and the statutes and judgments which the Lord your God commanded to teach you, that you might possess it and do it in the land whether you go possess. That thou mightest fear the Lord thy God, keep all his commandments, which I command thee, thou and thy son's son, all the days of thy life, that the days may be prolonged. Go ahead, keep reading.
Here, therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with thee, and that ye may increase mightily, as the Lord God of thy fathers have promised thee,
So
in the land.
Talking about here, O Israel, like he's talking to a nation of people. But remember, right now we're in the wilderness. We left the wilderness because we came out of Egypt. You know how Moses went down there, and then what ended up happening was it ended up being like 10 plagues. And them 10 plagues ran through Pharaoh so hard that Pharaoh said, please go. Take everything with you. And then Pharaoh, I don't know if his wife got in his head or what, but he got to tripping and he started to come back after them. And when he came back after the children of Israel, all of a sudden Israel got to this thing called the Red Sea. And when they got to the Red Sea, Moses, the leader, the king, by the way, opened that joint and they crossed on dry land. Pharaoh thought he was smart, ran up behind him, and then next thing you know, bam, the sea closed in on him. Egypt, your army done right there. And these people now can serve their God. This is the only nation this ever happened to, though. This don't happen to nobody else. All right. So now he said, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord." Verse 5.
And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and thou shalt talk of, and then thou shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up, and thou shalt bind them.
This is what we were supposed to be passing on to our kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're supposed to be passing these words on like jewels. Go ahead. What verse?
Verse 8. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine head, and they shall be as a
I'll just see that verse right there. And let me tell y'all something. This is how lame church be like. When I was a kid, you know how I knew this verse? For some reason, after they did something, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like maybe somebody did the announcements, you know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden it was like this chant, and that's what it was. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy head, and they should be frontlets between our eyes. And I'm just like trying to figure, like, I guess they were trying to like make us, I don't know, man. Church is a weird place, bro. It just depends on what the preacher says. You know what I mean? That's pretty much what it is. That's your religion is Pastor such and such. That's whatever Pastor, Pastor Stokes' religion is, that's your religion. Go ahead, keep reading.
Verse 9. And thou shalt write them upon the posts of thine house and on thy gates.
That's good. All right, so now let's go over here to Amos.
Psalms
147. Psalms 147. There you go, then. Psalms 147. 147. Whew. Definitely a heater up here. It's okay though. But I'll probably try to put it in the van next week. Cause I ain't gonna need them all now. Air, like a little air fan or something to just be able to, like that one that be swirling at the crib, maybe that one. You know what I'm saying? That way it'll help a little bit. Thing about I know, right? Thing about it is you can't do too much in here. The room ain't that big. You know what I'm saying? So you got, it ain't a whole lot you can do, and I understand it's hot, but trust me, y'all Hebrews ain't on the boat. In the bottom of the boat, sitting next to a dead man who just who doodled on himself, and you locked to him, he can't go nowhere. Right. We have been in far worse situations than to, really, that complaining. I mean, I'm with you. It's hot, but like I said, we've been in far worse situations. And I'm sure you could probably think of some in your own lifetime that you've been in that's worse than this. But I'm just saying, look where we've come. We can deal with it. So Psalm 147, right? Verse 18, 19, and 20. When you get there, go ahead and read it. This one that needs to be underlined in your Bible if you don't have it there. Go ahead.
He sendeth out his word and melteth them. He causeth his wind to blow and the waters flow. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He have not dealt so with any nation.
Man, you see that there? So as you thought maybe he could still do so or something, he just showed you right there. The Lord ain't never dealt with no other nation. Period. This is what makes Israel the church. And I ain't talking about the Israeli with the, why he wearing these weird things and all that. No, I'm talking about the Hebrew Israelite who got put into captivity according to Deuteronomy chapter 28. You know what I'm saying? Not the one that went in Holocaust and got beat up for a couple years, because he made it after that. He ain't in them camps no more. We still in captivity. I'm like, y'all trying to compare something that happened for 4-5 years to something that we ain't even out of yet. And you trying to make it seem like it happened to them and they lost this many. I mean, you think we done lost? Right. I mean, we got numbers. We got a running number in some of our cities where just imagine, me and my mother was talking about all these murders that came out, and I was telling her, she was like, yeah, they started to do a lot of them in Atlanta. I said, yeah, Mom, but it ain't really that high. It's only 100. I was like, that's gonna be the max out number there. I was like, Detroit, they max out numbers from 300 to 365. Philly, we in the 4 to the 5s every year though. Chicago in the 6s. I said when it was bad, Mama, Chicago was at 1,000 and Detroit was at about 600. Like, you know, when we was in the late 90s and in the mid 90s. But what I'm saying is this is every year.
Yeah, every year.
And I just named a couple of cities. I didn't take you to, you know, Little Rock, Arkansas, or Albany, Georgia. You know, y'all just know about the cities where, you know, they got a dot on the map. They killing people everywhere. Like, and that's what I'm getting at. They killing them. I done been in them little back country towns. They do shootings down there too. You know what I'm saying? They make babies down there and they do shootings down there. You know what I'm saying? Just like they do in your town. You know what I'm saying? It's just like so. What I'm getting at is, don't compare the Holocaust to what happens to us. You can't make the comparison. Like when I go to the bank, when the Edomite go to the bank and I go to the bank, you cannot make that comparison. Like you can't do that.
Amen.
So I'm saying they're not the so-called the people who say they Jews. They lying. They not the Jews.
They not.
So at any rate, he said he never dealt with any other nation, and they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. All right, that's good. So let's go over to Amos now, chapter 3. He sending his word out, his word, and melted them. He causes the wind to blow, and the waters to flow. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and judgments unto Israel. Jacob and Israel, the same person.
Mm-hmm.
He have not dealt so with any other nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. Amos 3 and 7. 3 and 1. Amos chapter 3 and verse 1. Everybody there? Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
all right, go ahead.
Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel.
Yes, sir. So look now to the same nation. Because see, now we done jumped the book. When I say we done jumped the book, see, we started in Deuteronomy, or we was in Deuteronomy and Exodus, and we was showing the church in the world. And we was showing that we was making a covenant with God, the church was. So everything was gonna be all good. Well, it wasn't. Y'all know black folks. Do we ever keep our word? Yo, I have found out in the last 4 months, the last 4 weeks, we are the most word-breaking people I have. Yes, I'm gonna do it. No, I'm not. Yes, I'm gonna do it, and you don't. Just be lying. That's what that's what I be saying to people. So you just lied. You be trying to know you lied. Like you said you was gonna do something, you didn't do it. You lied. Like, because I really, the reason that I do that is I want you to understand the seriousness. Sean, I built what I believed you. So I built my whole next 4 days based off of what you said. And now you made me lie to her. You see what I'm saying? So because I told her I was gonna do something, but since you lied, now you turn me out to be a liar. Like I'm saying, that's very important to understand. It's best served. Just don't say what you're gonna do. I don't know. That's what I tell my wife. So because I ain't got time for her to be telling me, I ain't got time to call her, you lied to me again. Huh? Well, you said you was gonna take out the trash. Huh? But that is a lie though. If I say I was gonna do it and I don't do it. Yeah, it's still a lie. You know what I mean? Brothers, it's still a lie. Yeah, we might have the right to change our mind. That's why I say it's best served to make sure you put everything out there in black and white when you get to run it off at the mouth. Put your disclaimer out there. This is what we're going to do as long as such and such, blah, blah. Then make sure at the end of the day, you say what, y'all? Lord willing. You know what I'm saying? Right, because you don't want to turn, because basically, and people have got me like, but bro, you said you, and I'm like, no. I'm sorry. Like, I'm genuinely sorry, and you understand, but you built something based off my word. You trusted that I was going to keep it. So at any rate, Israel didn't keep it. We don't keep word. We lie. That's what we do. That's what you are when you don't keep your word. You are a liar. I'm just straight. I'm just trying to. It's serious. People take lying like people take lying like it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like it's okay for me to lie. It's not doing anything.
Did they promise?
But when you say you're gonna do something, it is what it is. If I say I'm gonna take you to the store, then that's what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. That's why I'm slick. I'll say I'm gonna call you back, right? And then I kind of forget, And then I'll call him back anyway and be like, bro, I'm just calling you because I said I was going to call you back. But I'm finna, because you ain't finna be sitting here talking, Jay, you lied to me. Knowing that we live in that same world and I'm going to hit him like that. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, you want to deal with your word. But anyway, we did. Hear this word. Oh, go ahead. Amos 3:1.
Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O house of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth.
Man, he said, only known Israel out of anybody on the planet, out of all the families of the earth, out of the Romans, out of the Germans, the Russians, all the African people, the Nigerians and the Sudanese and the Ethiopians. He said, no, I knew. Please don't give me the Indians, which I hate that now. Because, y'all talking like Indians like they African. Or Native American, that's what they call it. Like, no, these people are Cherokee. They are Blackfoot. They are whatever. Yeah, right. Yeah, so I'm just saying, though. Like, we act like, we just call them all Indian, which really, they call them Indian because they thought they was coming up on India. Yeah, like, they didn't even what they is. So, I mean, I'm just saying, sometimes we have to think about what we say. Do you really want to be involved with that level of ignorance? But then anyway, what verse are we at?
In the middle of 2.
Go ahead.
Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities.
He say, but I'm going to punish you for your iniquities, Israel. So this is why we are where we are. I'm the only nation that I know. So since you couldn't do what I told you, I'm kicking your butt. I'm going to punish you for your iniquity. Mm-hmm. And we get punished. Cut the TV on. Ain't they still protesting right now? Mm-hmm. I'm like, damn, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I thought it was just that week. I mean, I'm just right. That's how I'm used to.
That's how long the Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, that's how I'm used to. I'm like, oh, they still doing this? Week. Like, you know what it is? They're gonna do this until Corona over. When Corona over, all the protesting is over. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got nothing else to do right now, so we just didn't win the protest mode. But because I'm like, I ain't never known protests go this long. I'm like, yo, they got the guns out with the black people in the world. I'm like, hold on, this don't even look right no more. But at any rate, he say, out of all the nations on the earth, this is the one I punish. See, that's the same thing with you. Once you get into the word and your neighbor in the word, or your neighbor not in the word, and you go rob the store with your neighbor, and he get away and you get caught. That's God doing you like that. Because God's saying, you know better. So much is given, much is required. I'm going to bang you for yours. And that's why Israel lived in the ghetto. That's when they made the projects. It's funny how we the last one to trickle in there after everybody else was done with it. You know what I'm saying? So the point that I'm getting at is the reason we are in the situation we are, that we live in the slums, we have no representation, arguing over whether we want to take 40 acres or a mule or 400 grand, which we ain't getting either.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. We was on Facebook arguing about that. And I'm sitting here looking at the argument like, well, which one y'all gonna get? Y'all finna get this stimulus check with everybody else. That's all you getting out of this deal. Right.
I want the 40.
Yeah, they are. That's what we were talking about on the way here. I'm like, dang, y'all gonna make me quit my job so I can get a stimulus check. And everybody else getting one. Mm-hmm. I know. So he say, verse 3, you only have I known of all the families of the earth, therefore will I punish you for all your iniquity. Verse 3, go ahead.
Can two walk together except they be agreed?
No, go ahead.
Will a lion roar in the forest when he have no prey? Will a young lion cry out of his den if he have taken nothing? Can a bird fall in a snare upon the earth where no gin is for him?
No, go ahead.
Shall one take up a snare from the earth and have taken nothing at all?
Go ahead.
Shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid?
Look, man, go ahead, keep reading.
Shall there be an evil in the city and the Lord have not done it?
Right, so when you look at Israel, he said, should there be an evil in the city and the Lord have not done it? You know that Nat Turner joint? And they killed all them black men down there? Or it's one I got going around now, something I found out, what was it, like maybe 40 or 50 years ago down, I think it was Jackson. So I got to reread the article because it was just that new. But they locked up a whole bunch of young boys and burnt them up in the house.
I put that up.
Right, well, I mean, I'm saying I've been floating it around now. And I did see that. But the point of it is, like, y'all thought the white man did that. The Lord saying, can evil, he say, surely, Lord, he said, shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the Lord and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city, and the Lord have not done it? Like the Tuskegee experiment, The Lord did that. So when I say that, now you might be like, no, the white man, I saw him do it. Man, look here. God gave him his power and his authority. You the one getting in trouble. That's the point. You the one that's being punished because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. Had you done when you was chosen to be that great nation, had you done what you were supposed to do, then none of this Tuskegee experiment and all this, none of this slavery and all this other stuff don't even exist. Doesn't even come. It's your fault, my fault, our fault. All right? Now, ignorance though. We got to come up out of that because we can change our situation per individually and as a nation. We can change our situation, but you can't change something you don't know about. And that's what we're doing now. We educate. Go ahead. What's verse?
Verse 7. Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secrets unto his servants, the prophets.
Right. And notice what else he said. The Lord said his secrets sit with his servant. But he's talking to Israel, though. So the rest of the world don't know nothing. I was talking to a man the other day. We was looking at a building, you know what I mean? And, he's like, I'm not much into religion. We talking about this stuff that's going on, how crazy it is. Like, but I'm not really much into religion. I say, look, man, I look at it like this, man. If the Bible ain't real, man, I don't know where we going. Like, this crazy out here. Like, do y'all not see how crazy? Like, see, I got Jesus. I ain't even worried about it. I know the Lord ain't coming back right now. You know what I'm saying? I know all the signs in the play. I know all the moves. I have no anxiety about what's going on. But if I didn't know the moves, heck yeah, I'll be quarantined. I'm watching about the NBA players and they tripping about being in some bubble they call it or whatever so they can play basketball. Man, I wouldn't even be playing. I'd be like, man, y'all need to come up with some kind of cure because this out here killing people. See, but I know better. You know what I'm saying? I know way better. I know that it ain't no it killing nothing. We just read, can evil happen in the city and the Lord don't do it? So at any rate, let's move on to our next one, Hebrews chapter 3. Hebrews chapter 3. Hebrews chapter 3. Yeah, so you know how I go, y'all. We got a lot of subjects when we deal with the Bible. You know what I mean? We can deal with the Holy Ghost. We can deal with Jesus being God. We can deal with the creation. We can deal with what day is the Sabbath. Sometimes we got to deal with these too. It is important that you know and understand your role in the society of the Bible. Meaning that your role is as black men and women, you are a piece of the priesthood of God. Therefore, you have to live a certain type of way. You have to speak a certain type of way. You got to say you got to uphold an image. Otherwise, you'll fall just like the children of Israel fell, our forefathers, Christ. Hebrews chapter 3, let's pick it up in verse 5. When you get there, go ahead and read.
And Moses verily was faithful in all his house as a servant for a testimony of those things which were to be spoken after.
Go ahead.
But Christ as a son over his own house, whose house are we, if we hold fast the confidence and the rejoicing of the hope firm unto the end.
So he's saying that we this house of God, right? Go ahead, verse 8.
Harden not your hearts.
That's why we here. So he's saying, don't harden your mind. Don't get hard-headed. Go ahead.
As in the provocation, in the day of temptation in the wilderness.
See, we want back to the wilderness. They got hard-headed out there. That's where the trouble came on the church. The church was in the wilderness. They got hard-headed. He said, don't you be hard-headed, not your heart, harden not your heart as in the provocation, in the day of temptation in the wilderness. What happened?
When your fathers tempted me, proved me, and saw my works 40 years. Wherefore I was grieved with that generation and said, they do away err in their heart, and they have not known my ways. So I swear in my wrath, they shall not enter into my rest.
Skip down 15.
While it is said, today, if ye will hear his voice, harden not your hearts, as in the provocation. For some, when they had heard, did provoke, howbeit, not all that came out of Egypt by Moses, but with whom was agreed 40 years. Was it not with them that had sinned, whose carcasses fell in the wilderness?
So he's like, who was he really mad at? He was mad at the people who sinned. But he just counted, he like this nation, you know what I'm saying? But he's just like, I'm really mad at the people who sinned. Go ahead.
And to whom swear he that they should not enter into his rest.
Them people that don't believe, they ain't gonna be able to, when it's all said and done, they don't get down with me. That's what he said. Keep going though.
But to them that believe not. So we see that they could not enter in because of unbelief.
Keep going.
Let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left us of being left of excuse me. Let me start over. Let us therefore fear, least a promise being left us of entering into his rest, any of you should seem to come short of it.
So he said, let us fear, lest we come short like they came up short. Like we going, see, remember what we doing. We in the wilderness, we at church with the children of Israel. We in Deuteronomy, we in Exodus, we in Leviticus, we getting the laws. Now Paul coming along, and now he's telling us, me, Kenny, you know what I'm saying, Drew, he's telling us right now, don't you fall short like they fell short. And he's explaining what they did wrong. It's the same church stuff. The church started in the wilderness. He said, don't fall short like them. He's going to explain. He said, let us therefore fear. Let's say, promise being left being left us of entering into his rest. Any of you should seem to come short of it. Verse 2.
For unto us was the gospel preached.
Oh, we got the gospel preached, right? We getting it preached even to this day, right? Go ahead.
As well as unto them.
So what he's saying is the gospel got preached to both. Just like it was. Remember we said that the children of Israel had the church had the lively oracles. That's what the gospel is. The living word. Go ahead.
But the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it.
So how does it profit you? You mix the word with faith. You read, you execute, you change. You change yourself. That's what you do. You used to fornicate, stop fornicating. You used to steal, stop stealing. Is this an overnight process? Some stuff will be. You know what I mean? Like some stuff really will be. Some stuff won't be. Some stuff you're going to need help. That's what the church is for. You know what I mean? But if like you, that's mixing it with faith. You hearing it, you seeing that and keeping the commandments, there's a great reward. That's what it says in Psalms 19. Now you must start keeping the commandments. You can't just say it. James tell you that. Don't be just a hearer of the word, but a doer. He said a man that's going to just hear the word and not do it is like somebody who look in the mirror and forget what they look like. Don't you know what you look like, Sean? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You pretty much you know what I mean? But he said, but for you to hear the word and not do it, just imagine you in the mirror and you staring at it. As soon as you walk away, you don't even know what you saw. That's weird. That's what that is, and that's what he's saying. So at any rate, you need to mix it with faith. That's what makes us different from the children of Israel if we want our salvation. Back in the wilderness. Jeremiah chapter 2 now. Jeremiah 2. We're almost done, actually. Jeremiah chapter 2. Oh, no, it's only 2:30. Oh, no, we're going to do this for a whole another hour. Forget all that. We know Jeremiah chapter 2. Did I skip something, bro?
No.
Oh, okay. I will. Jeremiah chapter 2. We back to 1, y'all. I think we might be able to pull this off. I don't know how they was acting in the front desk. Anybody? What you saw when you got here? She just spoke? Okay, they went and told, huh? Well, you know, I will tell you this. Whether somebody make a fuss or not ain't really what the issue at, because we get a phone call. You know what I mean? Like, just because they fuss or not. Because if I work here, I'm not fussing. I ain't going to say nothing. I'm like, I can't argue with y'all black people. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all going to beat me up or anything. I'm just going to log and, you know what I mean? So I get that. You know what I mean? So hopefully, though, we can do this again next week. You know what I mean? And y'all will find out pretty much how we've been finding out. Come Wednesday or Thursday, be looking. You know what I mean? Because it's cool to be able to get back to 1. Jeremiah chapter 2. And let's pick this up at verse 1. When you get there, about to read about this woman. Go ahead.
Moreover, the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Go and cry in the ears of Jerusalem, saying, Thus saith the Lord, I remember thee, the kindness of thy youth, the love of thy spouses, when thou wentest after me in the wilderness, in a land that was not sown.
All right, so he's like, y'all remember you back then when you came after me in the wilderness. I took you up out of Egypt. I married you. Because, see, think about it is, this church is a woman. And we can read this in other places in the Bible. Like, God is the man, the church is the woman. Sorry, brothers, we women in this case. You know what I'm saying? We his wife. You know what I'm saying? That's what, Jesus got multiple wives. All of us belong to him. All right? Now, go ahead, keep reading.
Israel was holiness unto the Lord, and the first fruits of his increase.
Yeah, so he say, man, Israel was holy to him. Like, it's like almost like my wife was beautiful. She was my prize. That's what he's saying. Go ahead.
All that devour him shall offend. Evil shall come upon them, saith the Lord. Hear ye the words of the Lord, O house of Jacob, and all the families of the house of Israel.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord, what iniquity have your fathers found in me, that they are gone far from me and have walked after vanity and are become vain.
He's like, what did I do wrong to make them do this? Man, that's some, and that sounds just like a husband, don't it? That's what it really sounds like. Like, what did I do? Or even when, the wives say that stuff too when her man cheat. So you definitely can relate. Like, was it me? That's what he said. Like, what the heck? What made you do this? Go ahead.
Neither said they, where is the Lord that brought us up out of the land of Egypt?
Like, we ain't even talking that now. Like, when is the last time you ever heard somebody, other than somebody maybe in the word, be like, man, I'm glad when God bring us up out of Egypt again, man. Like, where is that God? You don't hear that. Go ahead.
That led us through the wilderness, through a land of deserts and pits, through a land of drought and of the shadow of death, through a land that no man passed through and where no man dwelt.
Go ahead.
And I brought you into a plentiful country to eat the fruits thereof and the goodness thereof. But when ye entered, ye defiled my land and made my inheritance an abomination.
Go ahead.
The priest said not, where is the Lord? And they that handled the law knew me not. The pastors also transgressed against me, and the prophets prophesied by Baal and walk after things that do not profit.
Man, verse 8, man, that's why you hear, man. That's what happened. We agreed. We gave our word on more than one occasion, and you broke that word. You broke that vow with God. You idiot. You break a vow with Jude. What can Jude really do? Jude can beat you up. He might can. He might pull out some Bruce Lee moves on you or something. You know what I'm saying? But I can shoot Jude back. So hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, so if I break my vow with him, you know what I'm saying, I can still, buck that, as we like to say. This was God. What was you gonna do to him?
All right.
You idiots. That's what I mean. Like that you made a covenant with God. A killer, a stone cold killer. What did you expect to happen?
Cold-blooded.
You know what I'm saying? And this is what happened.
Blooded.
Go ahead, keep reading.
Wherefore I will yet plead with you, saith the Lord, and with your children's children will I plead.
And I'm still gonna plead with you after all of this. Like, instead of me just saying I'm gonna kill you, which is what really many people say, it ain't about the money, it's about the principle, right? You know what I'm saying? You told me you was gonna have my money today, you ain't got it. And we got 4 more days. Or it's gonna be flowers or something, something weird, right? You know what I'm saying? The Lord, right? You need cat. He said, but the Lord, he like, man, he like talking about taking us back after this. You know what I'm saying? He's like, wherefore I will yet plead with you. Like, y'all brothers know good and well, if you come home and your wife is in the bed with, Shaquille O'Neal. Right, with the maintenance man, you out of there. You like, good riddance. You can have it. You know what I'm saying? By the way, Shaq, can I get a couple dollars? But no, seriously though. You know what I'm saying? Like, good and well. So, like, that's how the Lord could have did us. He said he had divorced us when you read Isaiah. But at the same time, he coming back. He like, man. He said, wherefore I will yet plead with you, said the Lord. I'm still going to beg you to come back to me. All right? Now, verse 13.
For my people have committed 2 evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and heaved them out of cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water.
Man, so he was like, man, first of all, Jesus was living water. So it's like you had a big old barrel or pitcher of water that we could drink out like a well. We could drink out of today. We good, and we're going to live with it. And we decided to ditch that to go get a bucket with a hole in it to put dirty water, some old muddy green catfish water in. Talk about drink this. Yeah, catfish water. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he said, for my people have committed two evils. Number one, you ain't had no business leaving God. We forsook the fountain of living water, but then we went and got a bucket with a hole to put water in it that came out of a dirty pond. You idiots. That's what he said.
Verse 19.
Meaning, when that parallel is to our religions. You know, you being Baptist is like a bucket with a hole in it with some filthy water being poured through. Or, you know, us being, what's my girl? Rame, Daisy, whatever the heck she was. Tina Turner. What's she?
She a Buddhist.
Buddhist, yeah. That's good. We do all that dumb junk. You know, my man told me, he said, yeah, man, my wife, she, I think she was either Buddhist or Hindu. This chick got a shrine in her basement. And she cooks a statue some food. I say, well, I guess the mice love coming at your crib. That's the only thing eating it. If that food was gone, trust me, it was the mice that ate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was the rats. Or your husband got pissed because you made a better meal for your guy than for him. Stuck down there and ate it. You know what I mean? I don't know, but what I'm saying is people who do that to this day, currently. This is current situation. Like, I'm like, no, what is you doing? You feeding a statue, for real? I'm saying.
That's what they have to do.
Yeah, well, no, I think it was Hindu or the Buddhist. I think it was Buddhist. I think she was Buddhist.
What's the statue look like?
I didn't see it. I didn't
That-
think I was going over there.
What the-
He was telling me the story. I'm not going over there to see. But I know the Buddhist cat.
Yeah, one at the
That's
foot.
Hindu.
Yeah, that's the elephant with the four
Yeah.
arms and stuff.
That's the Hindu.
Yeah.
Maybe on some other stuff.
Tina Turner's a Buddhist.
Yeah.
Buddhist.
Buddhist.
All right, come on.
Go ahead, kid.
Yeah.
All right, verse 19.
Verse, yeah, thank you. 19.
Thine own wickedness shall correct thee, and thy backsliding shall reprove thee. Know therefore and see that it is an evil thing and bitter that thou hast forsaken the Lord thy God, and that thy fear is not in thee, saith the Lord God of hosts.
Yeah, that's how the Lord think about it. Verse 26.
As the thief is ashamed when he is found, so is the house of Israel ashamed.
Yeah, just imagine, like, you know, man come home, like, it was one on TV not too long ago. Imagine man come home and the thief there. You know what I'm saying? But this man ain't no punk of a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, he walk in on him, you know, guns blazing too. You know that thief is ashamed. Like when he go back to his thief coalition, they talking much trash about him. Like, bro, you got caught. Somebody, you dropped everything. You know, you boo-booed on yourself. All that gonna come out. That's what he's saying. As the thief is ashamed when he is found, so is the house of Israel ashamed. And we are, man. Look at us. Like I was saying, man. Like, don't y'all think something wrong with having Black History Month? Like, who else got a month?
Everybody now.
Nope.
Yes, they do.
Nope.
Latin got one now.
Man, the only other people who really got a month is the gays. They got Pride Month.
My month.
I'm like, the Jews ain't got no month. Jewish History Month, they ain't got one. The Indians, I'm talking about the Indians of India. They ain't got no month. How come we need a month? Yeah, right. Where the Chinese month at? You know what I'm saying? Like that, right? I'm saying
can't fit
you
their
should
history
that
in the
should be
month.
somebody might have to know this thing because they don't teach our history. Yo, your history is this history. History is history. There's no such thing as if it's a lie, it's not history. So if you ain't getting taught your history, that ain't their fault. It's your fault. Because you decided not to go learn your history. It ain't their job to teach me my history. That's like me telling you it's your job to tell me about my mom and dad. Like, did you ever think of that? You know what I'm saying? Like that's what y'all asking when y'all sitting here. That's what I'm saying. You ought to be ashamed. You don't even know as a nation how stupid you look most times. But go ahead, what verse are we at?
26.
Uh-huh.
As the thief is ashamed when he is found, so is the house of Israel ashamed. They, their kings, their princes, their priests, and their prophets.
Saying what?
Saying to us, stop, thou art my father.
Right, you went to a tree talking about you my father. And what else?
And to a stone, thou hast brought me forth.
Yeah, like he said, basically what we did is we went out here and took on gods of wood and stones, you idiots. Go ahead.
For they had turned their backs unto me, and not their faces. But in the time of their trouble, they will say, arise and save us.
But every time we get our wigs split, oh Lord, I won't do it no more.
All right.
I'm sorry. We vowing like crazy. Even as a nation. Like, it's gonna get bad. It's gonna get real bad. So when you're gonna go to your preacher and he ain't gonna have no answer no more. And now you're gonna be looking for Jesus. See, right now the preacher's still getting you a little something.
Tickling that
a little
ear.
song to dance. Ain't a whole lot. But let's go on over with say more dance than song, huh? Let's go on over here to Romans chapter 11 now. Back to Romans 11. Romans chapter 11. But y'all should see how the class is kind of formulating, putting this stuff together, and it's not really difficult. Romans chapter 11, and now we're going to pick it up at 1, and then we're going to read down all the way down to 5. When you get there, go ahead.
I say then, have God cast away his people? God forbid. For I also am an Israelite, of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. God have not cast away his people which he foreknew. Went ye not what the scriptures say of Elijah, how he maketh intercession to God against Israel, saying, Lord, they have killed thy prophets and digged down thine altars, and I am left alone, and they seek my life.
Man, Elijah thought he was the only one left. But watch what Jesus is going to tell him. Go ahead.
But what saith the answer of God unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men, whom have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal.
What the Lord is saying is I always kept somebody out here, had enough to make sure, and this guy we talking. Do you think he's going to let the devil win like that? Like, if the word of God went to a 0, then how does it come? How does it come to any number? You see what I'm saying? Like, you can't multiply a number by 0 and come up with a number. It's going to still be 0. So what he's saying is I always kept a number out here somewhere so that they would be able to push my word back out here on the scene so people can begin to wake up at the appropriate time. Because we got over here, we did not have our God. But that ain't to say it was a 0% chance that all us Africans, that's what we were when we got here. They called us Africans. That all us Africans was serving, every single one of us was serving some false deity. No, somebody was serving the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And they walked over here with it in their minds still. Maybe they didn't keep the tabernacle when they got here. That's why I don't like. That's why I can't stand these arguments sometimes. What day did the Passover? Well, y'all did it this day. Y'all did it this day. I'm like, man, it was a time you couldn't even dare do this, and you arguing over something that you're now doing. You know what I'm saying? Like whether you doing it, do you really think we gonna get in the judgment line? And because if we did it on Tuesday, and Dennis did it on Wednesday, and the Israel Church of Jesus did it on Thursday, that Dennis and Iffy going to hell? They did it. They did it. Now, you might say, what about the Sabbath? Oh, come on. It's a whole other animal. 6 + 1 all day. You know what I'm saying? There's no other way to play it. 6 + 1. You know what I'm saying? Like, whereas with this other, we talking moons and all this stuff. And it's like, man, I just can't figure it. So I roll with them. And he rolled with them. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to argue about that. That won't be nothing bad. That won't be nothing but that pride. So anyway, he said, I ain't never leave nobody out here. I never left the planet empty of my word. Somebody was there always. What verse?
I left off at 4.
All right, go ahead.
Even so, then, at the present time, also there is a remnant according to the election of grace.
Right, he said, even right now, at this present time, there's a remnant of people still dealing with the gospel according to grace. Remember what it said in Matthew chapter 7. Many gonna be that final destruction, but only a few. And that's what we are. Even though we might pile up in a room and think we deep, we ain't. Trust me. It might be another, I don't know. We're dare to give New York a lot of credit. It might be another 1,000 people doing what we're doing right now today in New York. It might be. I'm not gonna discredit people. You know what I'm saying? Like some people, like it might be somebody chilling in their crib who we ain't never met, who, him and his wife and kids. I ran up on the store and seen a little girl had on some fringes. Little girl, about maybe 14, 15, 16 years old. And so, I'm like, what you got on fringes? That's why I don't hate on fringes like that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's still identification. Who wears them? So what you got on fringes? She like kind of timid. You know what I'm saying? What you should have been. She was like, yeah. She was like, yes. I was like, oh, so you're an Israelite? She was like, yes. I was like, where do you congregate? She's like, I congregate with my daddy and my mom. I was like, oh, so you guys don't have a particular church home? She was like, it's at our house. I was like, oh, okay. And then I told her about I have a daughter too. Like I didn't want her to feel like I was trying to, but I peeped her fringes and I was just trying to see what school you might have went to, because if you, and then she was like, I go to such as, I was like, oh, that's in Philly. We live in, like it was like, but the moral of the story is, you would think you the only one doing it, or you would think ain't nobody else doing it but you. You understand what I'm saying? Like nobody else exists in the world. If I don't do it, it don't get done. No, there's people out here that's serving God. You ain't the only one. The Lord said, I always kept a number. And like I said, if he made the number 0, then how do we multiply into what we got today? You can't. It's not possible. Somebody had to have this. All right. What verse?
Oh, we got Zechariah 5 now.
Oh, we can go to Zechariah chapter 5. All right. So good. So we are over halftime. And what we're about to do now is explain why he's talking to the Romans here. See, the Romans, eventually, we talk in Italy. But the Romans, this is where the Catholic Church starts from. And so when you say, why is he telling the Romans, we're going to begin to see as we get into as we get back into Romans chapter 11. But let's go ahead and pick up the Zechariah chapter 5, and let's pick it up at verse 1. And this is what ended up happening to the church. And it's important that we see this. Because right now, when you go into history books and they say the church, they ain't talking about Hebrew Israelites. They talking about the what we want to call it, Roman Catholic Christian Church or whatever. Yeah. Zechariah chapter 5, let's pick it up at verse 5. When you get there, go ahead.
Then the angel that talked with me went forth and said unto me, lift up now thine eyes and see what it is that goeth forth. Mm-hmm. And I said, what is it? And he said, this is the ephah that goes forth. He said, moreover, this is their remembrance through all the earth. Resemblance, my fault, y'all. Resemblance through all the earth.
All right, so basically this ephah, we're just going to say it's like just a little sheet or something. You know what I'm saying? And so he said, and I said, what is it? He said, this is what he's looking at. I said, ephah. And it's going to go out and more. Then he said, this is their resemblance. It's the appearance of all the earth. So like that's what this ephah kind of represents, the earth. Go ahead, keep reading.
And behold, there was lift up a talent of lead.
So he put a piece of lead also. Go ahead.
And this is a woman that sitteth in the midst of the ephah.
All right, so then in the midst of the ephah, it was a woman sitting there. All right, go ahead.
And he said, this is wickedness.
So he's seeing this, he see this ephah, which he said represents the earth, the resemblance of the earth. Then he said he see a woman there with a talent of lead, and he like this wickedness. That like what he looking at is wicked. Go ahead.
And he cast it into the midst of the ephah, and he cast the weight of the lead upon the mouth thereof. Then lifted I up my eyes and looked, and behold, there came out 2 women.
So he said after this, he said now he saw 2 women. First he saw one woman. Then he said 2 women. Go ahead.
And the wind was in their wings, for they had wings like the wings of a stork, and they lift up the ephah between the earth and the heaven.
So he was like, and so these 2 women, they lifted up the ephah, a little sheet, a little world sheet. Go ahead. Then
said I to the angel that talked with me, whither do these bear the ephah?
Yeah, where they taking this? Go ahead.
And he said unto me to build it an house in the land of Shinar. Mm-hmm. And it shall be established and set there upon her own base.
Shinar is Babylon. And in this parable, these women is a representation of the church. And what he's saying is the church is gonna move. It was supposed to be in Jerusalem. This is where Zechariah was. He's like, it's going to Shinar, which is Babylon, which is really just Rome. You know what I'm saying? They had one woman at first, now it's another woman, an apostle. It's like if I read you church from 336 BC, it's us. If I read you church from 336 AD, It's them. You know what I'm saying? So we got two women. One is an apostle. He was like, man, this stuff is evil what he looking at. Because it shouldn't be another woman out here impersonating the Church of God. It should all be known there's only one Church of God or Church of Jesus, and that's Israel. But let's go back. Let's go over to Romans chapter 3 now. Romans chapter 3. It's gonna make a lot more sense by the time we get back into that Romans 11. Right. So he took this woman and took her to Babylon. That's what happened. Mm-hmm. All right. Romans chapter 3, let's pick it up in verse 1. When you get there, go ahead.
What advantage then has the Jew?
All right, go ahead.
Or what profit is there of circumcision?
Okay. So now what we're gonna see is Jew is also synonymous with Israel. And why do I keep leaving the scripture off of here? I sure did. We'll go there. But Jew is synonymous with Israel, and so is circumcision. And it's important that you recognize that as you read the New Testament, that circumcision in the Old Testament is when you've taken off the foreskin of your male organ. You know, that's what circumcision is. Whereas when you're looking at it in the New Testament, quite often circumcision is a representation of the nation of people that remove that foreskin, basically Israel. So he said, what advantage then have the Jew, or what profit is there of circumcision? Go ahead.
Much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of God.
Right. He said, look, to the Jews was given the laws or the oracles or the commandments of God that came to them. Go ahead.
For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of God without effect?
God forbid. Just because some people don't believe don't mean God ain't going to fulfill his end of the deal. It's just going to be problems on Kenny if Kenny don't want to believe God. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't like God going to stop. Oh, well, since I can't convince Kenny to come into the word, then I'm done. Like, it don't work like that. Romans chapter 2, let's pick it up at 17.
Behold, thou art called a Jew, and restest in the law, and maketh thy boast of God, and knowest his will, and approvest the things that are more excellent, being instructed out of the law.
Go ahead.
And art confident that thou art thyself art a guide of the blind, a light of them which are in darkness, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes, which has the form of knowledge and of the truth in the law.
Go ahead.
Thou therefore which teachest another, teachest thou not thyself? Thou that preachest a man should not steal, doest thou steal?
Go ahead.
Thou that sayest a man should not commit adultery, doest thou commit adultery?
Go ahead.
Thou that abhorrest idols, dost thou commit sacrilege?
Go ahead.
Thou that makest thy boast of the law, through breaking the law, dishonoreth thou God?
Go ahead.
For the name of God is blasphemed among the Gentiles through you, as it is written.
So, like right now, the name of God is blasphemed among the Gentiles. You know what I mean? Because of what we done did. We done made God's name look bad, so that's how it becomes blasphemous. But go ahead.
For circumcision verily profiteth.
So he like to be circumcised. It profits, but barely. Go ahead.
If thou keep the law,
He said, oh, it's gonna profit only if you keep the law. That's what we're getting at. Okay, go ahead.
but if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made
So
uncircumcision.
he say, if you're gonna break the law, then you are uncircumcised, even though you physically an Israelite. Because that's what he really getting at. Go ahead.
Therefore, if the uncircumcision keep the righteousness of the law, shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision?
So notice what 26 said. Remember, circumcision is Jew. So he says, for the circumcision verily profiteth, I'm at 25, if thou keep the law. But if thou be the breaker of the law, your circumcision, even though it's not on your flesh anymore, it's still like you uncircumcised. Then he says, therefore, if the uncircumcised keep the righteousness of the law, should not the uncircumcised be counted for circumcision. So let's take Brother Tyler, for example. He would be considered uncircumcised, not because he didn't circumcise himself, but because he was of another nation, and Israel was referred to as the circumcised. So with that being said, it says for the circumcision barely, he said, but should not his uncircumcision be counted circumcision? So just because he's uncircumcised physically, the Lord is saying, I see him just like I see the rest of you Israelites. He would be considered the circumcised. Why? Because he keeps commandments. Because that's what we're about to learn about this church. That even though Israel is the church, y'all think, look, Israel the church, but not my cousin. Mm-hmm. You say that he Israel, but he ain't Israel like us. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the aspect that we taking this to. That we see that the nation was the establishment of the church. But Paul brought in the Gentile to the church. So let's begin to continue to understand. What verse are we at?
27.
Read.
That's what I'm about to start reading.
Yeah, go ahead, read that. Mm-hmm.
And shall not uncircumcision, which is by nature, if it fulfill the law, judge thee, who by the latter and circumcision do have transgressed the law.
Go ahead.
For he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision, which is outwardly in the flesh.
Go ahead.
But he is a Jew, which is one inwardly, and circumcision is that one of the heart.
So you remember this when y'all hating, that book just said this man right here is a Jew. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, and I'm just selling, and when I say him, I'm saying when you hating on any Gentile. Because we do that. We do. Oh my God. Especially with this whole Black Lives Matter thing. Oh man. It's like, so, and I understand. I don't think I don't, but you hate your oppressor, and most times or not, it wasn't your oppressor fault. He didn't ask to be in that seat. You put him there. And that's what you got to understand. So when he humble himself and gravitate to your God, give him that love, give him that respect. Because he one of you now. Mm-hmm. That's what he's telling you. He said, but he is a Jew, which is one out inwardly. And circumcision is that of the heart and the spirit, and not in letter, whose praise ain't from man, it's from God. That's what we all looking for our praise from. All right. Now, where we going now?
1 Corinthians 7.
Thank you. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 19. 1 Corinthians 7 to 19. Ah, yeah. Mm-hmm. So one hit it right there. What you got?
T.
T? I like it. 1 Corinthians 7 and 19. When you get there, go ahead and read that verse.
Circumcision is nothing.
Y'all hear that? Circumcision is nothing. It doesn't mean, therefore, don't keep your son circumcised on the 8th day. No, that's the law. Mm-hmm. He just said, that ain't the end of it all. You know what I'm saying? Like, that don't, I got circumcised on the 8th day, then I get salvation. No, that's what Israel really be thinking. Mm-hmm. Just because I'm Israel, I'm going to get, because the Lord say Israel going to be saved. So then that make it seem like, well, since I'm circumcised, I must going to be saved. Like, that's it. Mm-hmm. But that's not it, because we also saw where he said that the circumcision is about the heart. So what he's trying to tell the Romans here is that just because you black don't give you salvation. And that salvation is those who are going to keep the faith of Abraham. And then you will be called, we're going to get there. We're going to see that. What verse are we at?
19.
Go ahead.
And uncircumcision is nothing but the keeping of the commandments of God.
Circumcision is nothing. Uncircumcision is nothing but the keeping of the commandments of God. Not saying that if you uncircumcised physically, that is some type of equivalent to being circumcised. It's not. It's not, and it's a stupid thought process. The Lord telling you to get circumcised on the 8th day. That ain't got 8-year-old babies ain't keeping commandments. That ain't got nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Now, when you're an adult, he's saying that if you whether you circumcised or not, not whether you're circumcised or not, incorrect. Whether you black or white is what he's saying. That's who the circumcision and the uncircumcised is. It doesn't matter. It's the keeping of the commandments. You need to make sure you understand that aspect of it. Not whether you circumcised or not, but whether you're black or white. Because the circumcised were the Jews, the uncircumcised was everybody else. All right? What verse are we at?
We're going to Galatians 3.
Yes, sir. That's where we need to go. Galatians 3. Galatians 3. And we're gonna pick this up in verse 6. This is gonna be it right here, not it for the class, but it for the piece that we're talking about as far as because partially what I'm trying to get you to understand is a lot of people read the New Testament and feel like they don't have to get circumcised. And I'm like, bro, you missing. When he starts talking circumcised and barely profit nothing off, he's talking about people. He ain't talking about skin. That's been done. Like he tell you in Ezekiel, if you ain't circumcised, you ain't get into the kingdom. So I don't know why you would think it's okay to not get circumcised. That's a dumb move. Hey, I was thinking about Pops, like, sure, we might have to circumcise him on the deathbed. You know what I'm saying? Like after he died, because he wasn't circumcised. My daddy wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I don't know what happens to you. You know what I'm saying? Like he gonna have to face his maker. That's what he gonna have to do. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know how that play. You know what I'm saying? Don't look good. I know one thing in Ezekiel, if you ain't circumcised, you don't get into the kingdom. So Galatians chapter 3. So Israel walked around like that was some ticket. Like drop your pants, I should be in, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like here go my pass. Like, nah, it don't work like that. I can get you in more trouble. Galatians chapter 3. Verse 6. When you get there, go ahead.
Even as Abraham believed God, and it was accounted to him for righteousness.
See, was Abraham an Israelite, y'all? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yep, he was Hebrew. But he wasn't no Israelite. But Israelites get saved. What about Abraham? Well, that's who you need to look at. Because he was not an Israelite. All right. So it said, even as Abraham believed God, and it was accounted to him for righteousness. Go ahead.
Know ye therefore that they which are of faith, the same are the children of Abraham.
Man, enough said. That means, well, Marlo, Brother Tyler, if they are faith, they children of Abraham. Now we're going to see who really Israel is. You see what I'm saying? Like, because we understand that the church was established in the wilderness. He gave the 10 commandments. But then he said something else. Let's go. Did we do it yet? Or we got to finish that?
No.
It don't matter. Let's go to John chapter. Well, yeah, John chapter. No.
Romans 11.
Man, we got to do all this other stuff first. Let's finish reading this. Go ahead. What verse?
Verse 8. And the scripture, foreseeing that God would justify the heathen through faith, preached before the gospel unto Abraham, saying, and thee shall all nations be blessed.
Like Abraham, by you all nations gonna be blessed. But then also it said that he preached to. That's why I don't like when people say Gentile means nations or heathen, because he didn't use neither one right there. He called out heathen and nation. It's not that it means Gentile always means Gentile, son of Japheth. But if that's who's ruling the world, saying Gentile sometimes could be the same as saying American. When you're talking about so like when you say an American, that's inclusive of everybody. So it's like whether Jew or Gentile. Like he's saying you either a Jew or you everybody else. But the word Gentile does not mean it means whatever son you was. It go back to Genesis. Period. Point blank. I understand what the concordance say heathen and no, you just don't understand what they're doing here. They just saying whether you either a Jew. You either circumcised or uncircumcised. You either a Jew or you what the rest of the world is. And in this case, the world is ran by the Gentile. Not so we could say you either Jew or American. We could do that, but America don't run the world, though. You know what I'm saying? The Gentile ran the world. So at any rate, he say verse 8, right? Yeah. He said the scripture foreseeing that God would justify the heathen through faith. Preached before the gospel unto Abraham, saying, in thee shall all nations be blessed. So then they which be of faith are blessed with faithful Abraham, because he was not an Israelite. So you don't have to be an Israelite to get salvation. So when you talk to these purple eater people, doctrine guys out here, whatever, the alphabet people or whatever camps out here, like I really have talked to them and just relating to you that way, because that's how a lot of times people say about them. You know what I'm saying? But when you talk to them and they try to tell you, the ones that try to tell you the white man can't get salvation, you only got to be Israel to get salvation. As it was Abraham the Israelite. And then you take him there. All right, now, let's go to where? Romans 3 now, right?
Romans 11.
No, that's what I'm saying, man. Romans 11. All right. Romans 11. Romans chapter 11. Let's pick this up at verse 7. Romans 11, verse 7. All right. Go ahead.
What then? Israel have not obtained that which he is seeking for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded.
He said, what then? Israel didn't obtain. What is Israel seeking for? We seeking our salvation. He's saying, well, what then? Israel didn't obtain what they were seeking for, but the election have obtained it. The rest are blinded. So what he's saying is, he's talking to the white people here in Rome. And he's saying, look, Israel as a nation didn't get it, but the election did. The rest was blinded. All right. Now keep going.
According as it is written, God have given them.
So he's explaining the blindness. He's saying God is written. God put a spirit of deep sleep so that some people can read stuff and don't comprehend it. Go ahead.
Eyes that should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day.
Right. Go ahead.
And David saith, let their table be made a snare and a trap and a stumbling block and a recompense unto them.
Go ahead.
Let their eyes be darkened, that they may not see, and bow down their back away.
So he's talking to the Romans about black people, about Israelites, his countrymen. We back in Hebrews 11 where it started off, I say then have God cast away his people. Remember, this is the basis or the foundation of my lesson today. Go ahead, continue.
I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall?
Talking about Israel. So again, I'm Paul. I'm preaching to a room full of white people. And I'm explaining to them how they're getting their salvation. And it's like, so when I explain, I'm like, Israel dropped the ball, the black people dropped the ball. So you get to get in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like I'm explaining this to them. So then he says, I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? So he's saying, he's asking the question for them, like why he teaching. So is Israel done this? Is like when they stumble, like they fall, like it's permanent? You didn't watch what he said. Go ahead.
God forbid, but rather through their fall salvation come to the Gentiles for to provoke them to jealousy.
Right. He said when we fail, that allows salvation to come to the Gentiles. Like again, we go back to the slavery days. How did you get your Bible? He got your Bible. Why do you think he got your Bible? Because we failed. So salvation was come to them, and now they brought it back to you. And really, they brought it to you like, would you please explain this to us?
Right. That's what it was.
Yeah, like we don't like, like they weren't gonna say that. You know what I'm saying? But still in the back, they're like, maybe they can do a better job than us. They seem to be able to do everything else around here. Maybe they can figure this one out. Because they didn't figure it out. But go ahead, keep reading. What verse?
Oh, that was what you had written on there.
Okay. Because we are we coming back to it? Yeah, we are. Ooh, yeah, we are. Let's go to John real quick. John chapter 10. Yeah, like she said, keep your finger there. John chapter 10. See, another reason we dealing with this to the level is people like to act like white people can't get salvation. White people part of the church too. I'm sorry. And they not Edom either. That drives me nuts when black people try to call when black people try to say the white man is Edom. I'm like, man, Edom or Esau. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not who they are. That's a whole nother nation. And if that's who they are, okay, so if the white man is Edom,
they mix together.
then what the heck happened to the sons of Japheth, number one? All his sons. Please tell me where they are. And then, everybody was dark at first. But please tell me what happened to them. And then, please explain the book Obadiah to me. Please explain to me why white people are all over the world, but when the Lord come back, he's going to destroy Jerusalem. You know what I'm saying? He talks about dealing with Edom. Like, come on, please have some common sense. Stop calling the white man Edom. It doesn't fit in the Bible. It's too many doggone white people for them to all be Edomites. That's stupid. That's what that is. I'm sorry, that's just what it is. Especially when you know the history of the white man, he's Greek. You know what I'm saying? You can take him back to being Greek. Like, so how does that make him Edom then?
But then Esau mixed with Jacob?
Did they really? Where? Who told you that? Yeah, I know. Right. No, I know. And that's my answer to that question. Not just to you, to any, because your question was, well, didn't Japheth mix with Esau? I say, did they? Like, did they? How do you know that? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what is propagated to you. But really, most of us in the room don't even know what an Edomite look like. So then how can you say that you know that Japheth and Edom cross-contaminated? You don't. Now, these people who done took this Jewish religion, they Gentiles. Yeah, I ain't never said they weren't. They Khazars. Just show you right there. They Khazars, Ashkenaz, and stuff Gentiles. You know what I'm saying? But we not talking. They are not Edom. We saying Edom exists. He's here on the planet right now, and you can't say that is Edom. He's not. He know where he come from. His dad is something else. He said it to me before. I don't know. Do you remember? What you say your papa was?
Irish.
Poland. See?
Poland.
Right. I mean, no, Poland and Irish is not. Poland over here, Ireland over there. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah. Well, they both Gentiles. Okay. So anyway, let's look at this John chapter 10. See, I love how he know where he, like I really do. You know what I'm saying? How he know, because he ain't the only one. Most Gentiles know where they are from the European standpoint. Like, he wasn't the only person to ask that to, you know. And most Gentiles, now, I mean, you know, I guess some might don't, but most do. All right. You should go to Hamtramck, man. You take your dad there. I'll tell you about it. I think I did. Oh, yeah, we called about it. John chapter 10. And let's pick it up at verse 11. When you get there, go ahead and read.
I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep.
This the rock. Y'all remember we started class off saying that Jesus was the rock. We back to the rock now. We back to the cornerstone of our church. The church that started in the wilderness. And he says, I am the good shepherd. The good sheep, the good shepherd gives his life for the sheep. Go ahead.
But he that is a hireling and not the shepherd, who owns the sheep or not, seeth the wolf coming and leaveth the sheep and fleeth, and the wolf catches them and scattereth the sheep.
Right. He said meaning he working for money. You know what I'm saying? So he see the wolf coming. These ain't his sheep. That's how these false prophets be. They sheep. Go ahead.
The hireling fleeth because he is a hireling, and careth not for the sheep.
Go ahead.
I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep, and am known of mine. As the Father knoweth me, even so know I the Father.
Now watch this statement. Now, right now, so Jesus is the shepherd, so we the sheep. Israel will be the sheep then, right? Everybody would pretty much agree that Israel. Is there anybody who think Israel is not the sheep right here? All right, peep this then. Go ahead.
And I lay down my life for the sheep.
Like Jesus said, I came for the lost tribe of Israel. He said that. Go ahead.
And other sheep I have.
Wait a minute, he said he got some more sheep though. You see what I'm saying? Like he has other sheep. Israel is the sheep. Israel is the church. He said, I got some more though. I got more that I got to bring with this. Go ahead.
Which are not of this fold.
He said, and they ain't of this fold. They not. Basically, he's putting it out there like they ain't black. Yeah. He said they not the black sheep. Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
Them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd.
And he said y'all gonna be one when it's all said. One fold, one shepherd. And we're gonna see that by the end of this class. At the end of the day, that's what God is doing. When God made gods, like when he give you a spiritual body, please don't ask him what color you are. Please don't ask him what's your race no more. Because if you do, me and Peter, let's just drag him over here to Antarctica and just sit him over here for a couple of years. Yeah, because you're none of that no more. You're God now. And that's the relevance. It doesn't matter if you're black or white at that point. The reason it matters now is because we messed that up. What verse?
17.
All right. Are we doing 17?
Yeah, that's what we about to read. Therefore, doeth my Father love me, because I laid down my life, that I might take it again. No man taketh it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again. This commandment I have received of my Father.
This is the way he talks, man. But Romans chapter 11, we're going back over here. Some of the stuff Jesus said, man. I guess he's God, so God in the flesh, man. He's got to be the coolest dude on the planet. Mm-hmm. Like even when they was about to betray him, right? I mean, when they was sitting there eating dinner, and It was like, yeah, what are you gonna be? They was like, who? And he just so smooth. He like, who dipping in that cup with you? Like, right? Like, who does that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know this dude about to him right there. Then he tell him, don't do what you gotta do, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Jesus is a cold piece, man. Romans chapter 11. Let's pick it up at verse 13. Romans 11 and 13. And when you get there, go ahead. Well, remember where we left from. I say then, it's verse 11. Have they stumbled? Talking about us. That they should fall? God forbid. Israel didn't stumble that we was going to fall off. But rather, through our falling, salvation is now able to come out to everybody else in the world. It provoked us to jealousy, and we are definitely jealous. Because you still begging for 40 acres in the mule after 200 years or after 150 years. You know what I mean? Then he said, now that the fall of them be the riches of the world, so that's what he's telling you. He's saying, your fall enriched the world. And the diminishing of them, the riches of the Gentile, how much more the fullness? He said, if they fall and it increases the world, what happens when they become full? It died on you, bro. Oh, man, he ain't having too much job. Oh. Man, you supposed to be checking him. That's all good, though. But we need to do that too, though. Like, really, like we move toward that too, because everybody on Facebook and YouTube. But go ahead, keep reading.
For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office.
So that's who he's talking to here. And he said, I'm speaking to you Gentiles. And because I'm the apostle, not to Israel, but to the Gentiles. That's my job, because I was an Israelite killer at first. So therefore, God said, you can't deal with Israel. They scared of you anyway. You know what I'm saying? Which was good that they scared of him, because you was about to do something that the rest of them didn't want you to do. So they was going to be coming at you anyway. All right? So keep reading.
If by any means I may provoke to immolation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them.
See, he's talking to the white man, Roman, and he's saying, "For I speak to you Gentiles, in so much that in so much as I am the apostle of the Gentile, I magnify my office. If by any means I may provoke to jealousy some of my kinsmen, some of my brothers, that they might save some of them." Go ahead.
For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world,
the casting away of Israel be the reconciling. If that's how the world can come back to God or come to God, go ahead.
What shall the receiving of them be?
He says, so when the Lord come to receive them, what you think? Like, that's more glorious than the falling of them bringing people into the word. He said this is going to be more glorious when he received them. Go ahead.
But life from death.
He said what that's going to be is life from death. Because what he's trying to tell him is, no, don't hate on Israel. Like, yeah, you in there, you good, but don't hate on the black man. That's what he's going to tell him. Keep reading.
For if the first fruit be holy,
yeah,
the lump is also holy.
He said if the first fruit holy, then the whole lump holy. Go ahead.
And if the root be holy, so are the branches.
What verse are we at?
This is about to start 17.
Go ahead.
And if some of the branches be broken off.
So he's talking about Israel. So if some of the branches be broken off, because some of us wicked, that's how you break a branch off this tree. Go ahead.
And thou, being a wild olive tree, wert grafted in among them, and with them partakers of the root and fatness of the olive tree.
So what he's saying is some Israelites fell off. Then he said, well, some of the other nations, they got grafted into this tree. Like we could manage to get them to feed on to the root of this tree too. Okay, keep going.
Boast not against the branches.
He say, look, don't boast against the branches because a couple of them falling. They like that's that's just like you got another plant and you done added it to the plant that's already there and one of the leaves fall and it's like, oh, he started laughing at the plant that's in the water. And he like, we got room, you extra, you can go. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what he's saying. Like don't boast. Don't come in here boasting against Israel. Like, man, what's wrong with y'all? Y'all can't get in the word? We getting in the word. Go ahead.
But if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee.
Right. He's saying, well, how you going to boast? You don't bear the root bear you. Meaning, it ain't like you got the root on you and then you can, like, it was never established that you were the church. So how you going to boast? Israel's still the church. That's what he's saying. You are becoming a part of it, not the other way around. Go ahead.
Thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off, that I might be grafted in.
Right, you said that's what happened. Go ahead.
Well, because of unbelief, they were broken off, and thou standest by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear.
Right, he was like, because of unbelief they got broken off, and you stand by faith, so stay humble. That's what he just told him. Like, look, stay in your lane, don't get extra with it. Like, all they did was mess up, but it wasn't all of them anyway. Go ahead.
For if God spare not the natural branches,
so he's saying if God didn't spare Israel, we the natural branches. Go ahead.
Take heed, lest he also spare not thee.
Then he's saying, look, if God jammed JD up for life, Tyler don't want to look at JD like, dang, JD, you always get jammed up. He said, nah, don't be high-minded. Be be humble. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't for you to just dog me out. And that's what he's saying. Or, the Gentile will dog out us because we going through hell, even though that's what's bringing you into the word, though. Go ahead.
Behold, therefore, the goodness and severity of God on them which fell.
Right. We the ones that fell. He said, behold the goodness and severity of God on them that fell. Go ahead.
Severity.
Yeah.
But toward thee.
But toward the Gentile, the white man.
Goodness.
Right. He was like, he was good to you. God was. Go ahead.
If thou continue in his goodness,
go ahead.
Otherwise thou also shalt be cut off.
Go ahead.
And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in. For God is able to graft them in again. For if thou wert cut off of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and wert grafted contrary to nature into a good olive tree, how much more shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree?
Right. What he's saying is, so these olive trees that fell from that original root, while you talking junk, Gentile, he's saying, not being a natural branch. He's like, no, but they actually the natural branch. And we put you on here, what make you think we not going to just pick them back up and get them on here at the due time? That's what he's saying. Like he's saying, don't boast against Israel because they done blow up the mission. I established my church with them, remember? No other nation did I deal with. So if that's the case, then don't disrespect that. That's what he's saying. What verse?
25. For I will not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part is happening to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles come in.
Now listen to this verse. Go ahead.
And so all Israel shall be saved.
No, so right here it just says, so all Israel will be saved. They will at that point. We're going to see their point in time. That's what the Lord said, I'm coming back to save Israel. Period. What I mean by that, when the Lord come back and your grandma ain't keeping the commandments yet, and she's still alive when he come back, she Israel, I'm coming back to save her too. See, the Lord ain't saying that to the Gentile. He's saying that to Israel. I'm coming back to save Israel. All right, keep reading.
As it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob.
That's what's written in the Old Testament. And it's saying in the Old Testament, it's saying that they're saying that there should come out of Zion the deliverer, talking about Jesus, and he should turn away ungodliness from Jacob. Meaning when he gets to working, he's going to bring Israel back, and it won't be no wickedness amongst Israel. All right, what verse are we at?
27.
Go ahead.
For this is my covenant unto them, when I shall take away their sins.
See, that's why Israel going to be saved, because the Lord is talking about taking away the sins of Israel. Go ahead, keep reading.
As concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sakes. But as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sake.
Wow. Go ahead.
For the gifts and calling of God are without repentance.
Go ahead.
For as ye in times past have not believed God, yet now obtain mercy through their unbelief.
Right. He's like, it was time past, you didn't believe God, but you got mercy because they didn't believe. Now let's go over to Ezekiel chapter 20, because we're going to see when Israel going to be saved. This is a part of the question too. You know what I'm saying? Like some people have asked, and I don't know if it was here or where the question that come across my desk sometime. When the Bible says, is Israel, all Israel going to be saved? What does that mean? It means all Israel going to be saved. All Israel. Say that again. Right. And that's not what we talking about here. When we say all Israel going to be saved. And I, because right now, yeah.
I'm thinking
Exactly. Absolutely. I got you. We're gonna get there. We're gonna answer that. But when it's all said and done, all Israel gonna be saved. Let's find out exactly when. Ezekiel chapter 20. Ezekiel, that's the plan of God to save all Israel. You know what I'm saying? He created this nation. It's going to happen. That this nation is going to represent him to the rest of the world. We didn't do that properly at first, but it will happen. Let's look at it. Ezekiel chapter 20, and let's pick this up at verse 33. And Sister Dira poses a very good question. If all Israel are going to be saved, I'm Israel. You just told me I'm Israel. Then I'm saved. Why am I wasting my breath? And we're going to get there.
You used her grandmother as an example if she wasn't keeping the commandments.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I know
And she's
people
here.
in Israel who are not keeping the commandments.
Right. And if they still here when God come back, which, see, that's the key right there. If they are still here. Someone will be here, but it's going to be a whole lot of killing. And especially if you compare it to where it's been compared to what happened down in Egypt. And so when we go, let's read this. This will help clear it up. Ezekiel 20. And let's pick up verse 33. Ezekiel 20 and 33. When you get there, take off, my brother.
As I live, saith the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out will I rule over thee.
Mm-hmm.
And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you.
He's talking to all Israel. And he's saying, surely, as you live, I'm going to pull you up out of where you are. I'm going to take you out of that captivity. Go ahead.
And will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out.
Go ahead.
And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face.
Oh, so he's going to take you to the wilderness and plead with you there. Like, he ain't going to be begging you this time. He's going to be killing you if you don't want to do it. So when we say all Israel going to be saved, you got to make it past this, though. So the reality is, because he's telling you, I want to come into a covenant with you. I won't remember a new covenant, as Jeremiah 31 said, with the house of Israel. You see, so if that's the case, then what he's saying is, all I'm going to do is just kill Israel who don't want to act right. All Israel will be saved.
All Israel ain't Israel.
Those going to the wilderness, though, for those who keep the commandments first, all right?
And I should have did the other lesson first. Because the wilderness has two pairs. The wilderness is before the Lord come back. Then the wilderness is after the Lord come back. And so now, as we're going to see, this is after the Lord returns.
So
that he's going to bring us to the wilderness. So that means we've already reached the point of the return of Jesus. So let's get back in here, and I'll make sure I keep that path going. So start it at 33 again. Go ahead.
As I live, saith the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out will I rule over you.
So he's talking to Israel. He said, I'm going to rule Israel. Go ahead.
And I will bring you out from the people.
So he's going to bring us out from the people. This is after his return. Go ahead.
And will gather you out of the country.
When the Lord comes back at the seventh trump, he's gathering Israel back from the countries that he's getting us out of America. He's getting us out of South America. He's bringing us back to Jerusalem. But look, when I say that, I'm saying you ain't gonna want to be here. This place done been destroyed at this point. We have gone past Armageddon now. Now I don't mean this is 80, 90,000 years away either. They working on the plan. They getting there right now. Like I tell you what you look for next. Look for the cashless society next, and that scared me.
What?
Cashless.
Oh yeah.
Like when I say cashless,
already happened.
because whenever somebody tell you it's a shortage on coins, if you understand money and banking, that means somebody took the coins away from the. Now, why would they take the coin? Because the coin is what holds the value. See, your dollar is worth what? 4 quarters. Now that dollar is a representation of 4 quarters. It is not worth 4 quarters, because if I burn 4 quarters, I would still have a puddle of metal. If I burn that dollar, it would be gone. One has value, one does not. So we take what holds the value out of your market. Now all we left with is nothing. And if we don't use nothing, we might as well use cards, and we might as well. So I'm saying that's the one you want to watch right now. That coin shortage thing, that's the one you want to watch right now. You know what I'm saying? As we approach the end of days. So my point is, don't think you're gonna want to stay here in America and party. Like, don't think they about to give us, thousands of dollars. Since when they do that? When did you know a world? When in the history of your world, I'm talking about from Adam and Eve, did all the world give everybody broke money? When did they do that? I'll tell you something. That don't sound right. That looks scary. I don't understand. You understand what I'm saying? That's not normal. You know what I mean? This. You know how they say is nothing new under the sun. That one was new. You know what I'm saying? Like that one we never seen. Right. So what I'm saying is we on another path right now. We swiftly spiral to another place. And this place ain't gonna be what you want it to be. So don't worry, you ain't gonna want to be stuck here. When the Lord return, after he done killed a third couple of times, after it ain't no barley and famines done been here, trust me, you ain't trying to be in Central Park, New York. You trying to be over there somewhere. Because while we over here, that's gonna be like Escape to LA or something. It's not gonna be pretty around here. Yeah, So he said, as I live, saith the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand and with the stretched out arm and with fury poured out, I will rule over Israel. Go ahead.
And I will bring you from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered, with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out.
Go ahead.
And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face, like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt. So will I plead with you, saith the Lord God.
What else you gonna do?
And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant.
What else gonna happen when we out there?
And I will purge out from among you the rebels.
That's why he say all Israel gonna be saved. I'm purging the rebels. And I'm gonna kill them all. Yeah.
This is
after he returns. Right. So Israel's going to be saved. He's gonna bring them back to their land and everything. And if you can't get right, it's gonna be ride or die.
Those are the ones who
what do you say? Lay down or get. What do you say? Lay down or get down. That's
those
how.
Are the ones that survived the tribulation.
These are the ones that survived the return of Jesus. You know what I mean? Because at the return of Christ, we know we got Armageddon. We know we had them seals when he was causing bloodshed on the earth. We had those trumpets where they was causing bloodshed on the earth. So if you make it past that and you make it to the return of Jesus, then he's gonna gather Israel. Now you got to make it past that whole purging process.
So those that's in the wilderness.
Yep. So all Israel will be saved. We're reading that. Go ahead. I'll start it again. And I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgressed against me. And I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn. And they should not enter into the land of Israel, and you should know that I am the Lord. Go ahead.
As for you, O house of Israel, thus saith the Lord God, go ye, serve ye every one his idols.
So he said, go on, do what you do. That's what he said, go on, serve your idols. Go ahead.
And hereafter also, if ye will not hearken unto me, but pollute ye my holy name no more with your gifts and with your idols.
He's like, man, I don't want nothing from you no more. Go ahead.
For in my holy mountain, in the mountain of the heights of Israel, saith the Lord God, there shall all the house of Israel, all of them in the land, serve me.
All Israel gonna be saved. You see what I'm saying? Like, notice what he's saying. When we get to the land, all Israel gonna serve me. The same.
Who's ever?
Yeah. Go ahead.
There will I accept them, and there will I require your offerings and the first fruits of your oblations with all your holy things.
Right, he's like, that's when I will accept you. Well, at this point, after I made my covenant, then I'll accept this nation. Let's move on forward. Where was we at? Ezekiel.
Hebrews 8.
20. So
Hebrews 8.
We could do Hebrew. Oh yeah, we could. You know what? Let's not do Hebrews 8. Let's do Jeremiah 31. Or better yet, how about y'all go to Hebrews 8 and I go to Jeremiah 31? That's what we'll do. Hebrews 8. Y'all go there. I'm gonna go to Jeremiah 31. Same thing. That's what we're getting at. But I want you to know, because when we read what it says, I want you to understand. People talking that junk like, oh yeah, I'm under some new covenant. I'm under some old covenant. What I talked to them last week is Israel ain't under the new covenant. Somebody done lied to you if they told you that. Now, you may have taken the covenant at your baptism with God. So you, as an individual, might have a covenant with him. But Israel as a nation, we just saw when we get under the new covenant in Ezekiel chapter 20. Now, watch this now. Well, go ahead. You read yours, and I'm gonna read mine behind it. So read where we at? Hebrews 8, chapter verse 6. Go ahead.
But now have he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of the better covenant.
Remember, Jesus is the rock. He's the cornerstone. He's the mediator of a better covenant. The old covenant was back there in the Old Testament when we was killing these animals, sprinkling blood, things of that nature. Before the death of Jesus came, all that stuff was the old covenant, the old agreement. All right, go ahead.
Which was established upon better promises. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second.
So when we say, first of all, brothers and sisters, you must understand what covenant means. It means an agreement. So that means if the agreement that Pam and I have is faultless, then we don't need no more agreement. But having fought with, we can make all kind of agreement. I agree to pay $1. Right? Yeah. So, but if I don't do my end, then there was a fault in the agreement. But it wasn't Pam's fault. It was my fault. But it still isn't a fault in the agreement. It's just like if you sign your lease, a rental agreement, and you don't pay it, it's a fault in the agreement. But it's not on the apartment. It's not on the paper. It's on you because you're on the paper. You agreed to this paper. Your name is there, and you're not upholding your end of the deal. And that's the same thing he's saying about us as a nation. You agreed on more than one occasion to keep the commandments. I don't find fault in me. I'm the one that gave the contract. I don't find fault in the paper. You agreed to the paper. It's something wrong with you. You don't want to do what's being said. All right. So that's what he's meaning here in this Hebrews 8. So what verse are you at?
I just finished 7.
All right, go ahead. Verse 8.
For finding fault with them, he saith, behold, the day is come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
So we just saw in Ezekiel 20 that the Lord said he's going to bring us to the wilderness and put us under the bond of the covenant. Now we're seeing here that a new covenant will be made. But notice something. I'm not making a new covenant with the church by name like that. I'm making a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah. God's still dealing in the future with the same people he dealt with to start with. He's not like saying, it was something wrong with the contract, so let me go get a new team. You know, he's like, no, I ain't doing that. I'm just going to kick some of y'all butt, make you feel it. Now, when I bring you back, you ought to go ahead and get down. That's what you ought to want to do. That's what the Lord is saying about this nation of people. All right, go ahead.
Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continue not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith the Lord.
Go ahead.
For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days.
Notice who he make his covenants with, but we saw this already. He don't deal with no other nation. This elementary at this point. That's why I say by the time you're done, you should be able to come back to this. And, like I said, I know that's why I don't care about the time no more. Because I'm like, look, you go YouTube it. It's still there. Mm-hmm. But by the time we're done, you should be able to go back and comprehend. Okay, I understand. Israel is the church of Jesus. He was there with them. He gave them the commandments. We're going to see it all the way in the future, though. What verse are you at?
In the middle of 10.
All right.
I will put my laws into their mind.
Man, and talk about a law done away with. We still talking about the law in the new covenant. I'm going to put it not on a piece of paper. I'm going to put it in their mind. Go ahead.
And write them in their hearts. And I will be to them a God. And they shall be to me a people.
That's good. So look. I'm not going to do it. I'll let y'all do it for time's sake. But you can write Jeremiah 31 and 31 over there. You know what I'm saying? They go right with this Hebrews. Okay? That whole chapter, Jeremiah 31.
Say it again.
Jeremiah chapter 31. In verse 31. But really that whole chapter.
Yeah, whole chapter.
See by him talking.
Yeah, but 31 is
you
behold.
Still missed it, huh?
Yeah. 31 and 31.
31 and 31.
Behold.
Jeremiah 31 and 31.
Mhm.
You can read that verse. Go ahead.
Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
So it was just the same thing. It was where Paul and Hebrews was pulling from here. You know what I mean? But so what happens is when you read that in Paul and Hebrews, now you can go back to Jeremiah 31, read the whole chapter. Yeah. Then we can go back to Hebrews chapter 8 and comprehend better what even Paul was saying. So that's how you want to play that. When you study in the Bible, you see that quote somewhere, they're gonna pull the Psalm, they're gonna pull the Isaiah. You don't want to just go back to that chapter and read just that verse. You want to go run that whole joint so you can understand this. And then go back with that piece in there, like, oh, I see why they put that in there. That's how you get a better understanding when you do that. Where are we? Isaiah 56. Yeah, but he read verse 31. Y'all can read the rest at home for homework. Isaiah chapter 56. Isaiah chapter 56. Why am I at 26? I'm gonna blame it on the heat.
I ain't getting there, y'all. We don't almost there.
Yeah, it's all good.
Hey,
We start teaching the white people up here. No, I'm just playing. We do have a dress code.
you know what they do.
Stop it. Isaiah 56. Let's pick up verse 1. Reading that.
Thus saith,
Pick up verse 1.
thus saith the Lord,
Uh-huh.
keep ye judgment and do justice, for my salvation is near to come,
Go ahead.
and my righteousness to be revealed. Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the son of man that layeth hold on it, that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and keepeth his hand from doing any evil.
Go ahead.
Neither let the son of the stranger that have joined himself to the Lord speak, saying,
So
the Lord.
Son of a stranger means, because we like, blessed is the man that doeth this, do what? Keep the Sabbath. So what about the stranger? What if the stranger keep the Sabbath? Go ahead.
The Lord have utterly separated me from his people. Neither let the eunuch say, behold, I am a dry tree.
Remember, his people is the church, right? Right? Right?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Go ahead.
For
otherwise, we just would have went back there and then we'd have been skipping Bible study all day. Yeah. So you might have wanted to say right. Go ahead, verse 4.
For thus saith the Lord unto the eunuchs that keep my Sabbath, and choose the things that please me, and take hold of my covenant. Even to them will I give in my house and within my walls a place and a name better than of sons and of daughters. I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off.
Yo, you see what they get? These strangers, they get an everlasting name that should not be cut off. They get to join the church. They get to join Israel. Israel gets saved, but the stranger can too. Now, who is the stranger? If the stranger is anybody. Here's the catch to the whole big old Edom thing. Y'all act like Edomites can't get saved. Oh, well, the Lord going to destroy Edom. Yeah, Edom. If that's the case, then we're going to say the Lord going to destroy Edom, and we're going to speak of him as in the singular. We must be talking about Esau. Esau been dead.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like he said, and when he destroys Edom, he's going to destroy that nation. That nation would no longer, we would not have anywhere on that Edom. But that don't mean that as an Edomite was started serving God, the guy going to look at him and be like, man, God didn't respect a person like that.
Right.
He said that.
He said that.
He said that. So if he ain't no respect a person, then therefore anybody can be saved. Anybody. You know what I mean? If you got the faith of Abraham. That's it. That's what you got to have. All right. So he says, he like that. That's why he go to the eunuch. Because like he making it seem like to my gathering, the eunuch is worse than just being a regular. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't. Yeah, you're right. So he said, verse 4, for thus saith the Lord unto the eunuch that keeps my Sabbath. So if the eunuch can keep the Sabbath, he's saying all the other nations can, and choose the things that please me, and take hold of my covenant, the covenant that he made with Israel. Even unto them will I give in my house, within my walls. I love how you say that, like this joint mine. I give it to who I want to. A name and better than the sons of daughters. And I will give them an everlasting name that should not be cut off. Go ahead.
Also, the sons of the stranger that join themselves to the Lord to serve him and to love the name of the Lord, to be his servants, every one that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it and taketh hold of my covenant.
Go ahead.
Even them will I bring to my holy mountain and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon mine altar. For my house shall be called a house of prayer for all people.
Let's go over to Revelation now. Revelation chapter 7. It said all people. So unless we saying Edomites aren't people, then that includes them, y'all. And you know, somebody might try that move too, but they ain't really know. They worse than the dog. Man, look at man, stop playing. You just don't like white people. That's your problem. Because they been on top and you been on the bottom. Like, just admit it. That's how I be doing it. Like, you keep talking all that. I'm just like, you just don't like white people, don't you? You hate the white man, huh? Yeah, white man really raped your mama. You mad now? You know, I do all that with you because I want you to hear yourself. The Bible is saying that my house should be a house of prayer for all people, and you want to sit here and tell me, except for the white man, or except for Edom, right? Like, who's the liar? Exactly. Right. Which is real crazy, because you act like Edom ain't your brother, because he ain't the brother with the rest of us. Right. Now I do understand that, he sold his birthright and all that. But for all practical purposes, his daddy and your daddy is both Isaac. So that means y'all both family. So, but you hate him though. But anyway, and that's why I say the white man ain't Edom though. You know what I'm saying? Because the Edomite. I'll show you better. No, it's a fair question. Who is Edom? I put it to you like this. Edom in the land right now. So when we get a picture and we start showing people in the land, I can show you better what Edom might look like then. But he looks similar to an Arab, which would make all the sense in the world since Edom did the same thing that Israel did and went over there and messed with Ham. Yeah, that's exactly so. So anyway, let's finish this up. Revelation chapter 7. Revelation chapter 7. So now we near the end. Like we ain't near the end. The Lord about to come back. All right. And while we here at this end where the Lord is about to come back, what I want to show you is God still deal with Israel. But then on the flip side, watch the passage and learn that also all the rest of the nations. Ain't no discrimination with God. Go ahead, take off, bro. Revelation 7:1.
And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our gods in their foreheads.
All right, so what's about to happen is the Lord about to pour his wrath out on the earth. And we started without you. Okay. So we're in Revelation 7. It's the last one in the last book back there. So God is about to pour his wrath out on the earth. And before he pours his wrath out, he says, verse 2, and I saw another angel sitting from the east having the seal of the living God, and he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth. So they're about to hurt it, saying, hurt not the earth, nor the sea, or don't touch nothing till we done seal who we gonna save. And he called them his servants, right? But then let's find out who he ended up sealing. Who is the servants? Go ahead.
And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Of the tribe of Judah were sealed 20,000.
Man, we talking about he talking about sealing tribes of Judah.
Mm-hmm.
Tribes. Go ahead. What other tribes we got?
Of the tribes of Reuben were sealed 20,000.
Go ahead.
Of the tribes of Gad, 12,000. My fault, y'all. 12,000. And of the tribe of
I'm sorry. That was a good one. Go ahead. Keep going. That was good.
Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Asher were sealed 12,000.
These are Israelite tribes in the future that's being sealed. Now you might be like, well, what tribe am I from? Man, I don't know.
But these are the men, though.
It doesn't matter.
Listen.
My point that we hear is showing that he sealed Israel even in the end. So people want to say Israel is done away with. How was that? The church ain't no good, or the church is some new dispensation and it's something else. He said at the end, he said he was going to seal the servants of God, which would be his church, and he started calling out Israelites. Now, after he do that, verse 9, because he's going to call all those tribes out. Verse 9 or something like that. Verse 9.
Yeah, just the 12 sons and stuff. After this, I beheld, and lo, a great multitude.
So he kept looking, and he said, after I saw who got sealed, I saw a whole great multitude. It's the vision he looking at. Go ahead.
Which no man could number.
He said, I saw, go ahead.
Of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and psalms in their hands.
Yeah.
And cried with a loud voice, saying, salvation to our God, which sitteth upon the throne and unto the Lamb.
So if you see what's happening here, as John, that's what we're looking at, saw the vision. At first he saw these two angels, and one angel say, don't do nothing until I seal the servants of God on the earth. This was before the Lord come back. But then John was able to see all the way basically to the Father's kingdom. And when he looked in the Father's kingdom, he said, I saw all nations. Israel, Edom, Gentile, white, black, Puerto Rican, I don't care, whatever the heck you, Mexican, I don't know, Asian, Chinese, I don't know, whatever he's seen them all. The Aborigine. He said he saw, after this I beheld a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations, not all except one, not some nations, not many nations, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed in white robe, palms. So what we getting at is God plan on saving all races of mankind. He ain't just saving Israel. Israel just had a job to be the church. We dropped the ball. We picking it back up now. We back in the game. We can shoot. Let's go to Romans chapter 9.
Ezekiel 39. Oh.
Ezekiel at 9.
All right.
We just proved the same thing.
All right.
Romans chapter 9. Romans chapter 9. And we're going to pick this up at verse 4. Yep. And so honestly though, when you read the book of Romans, what we do with this, it's not what he's doing. FYI. What we do with this is we're going to define who Israel is because he does define it. But that's not what he's doing when he's writing it. He wasn't defining Israel. He was told in a whole other conversation. And in the midst of that, he defined Israel for us. Just so you know. Because I was talking about that last week, how people can pull scriptures out and use them how they want to. You know what I'm saying? Because that's really what we're doing, but we're not. And I'm going to show you what we mean. Romans 9 and 4. Go ahead.
Who are Israelites?
See, that's not a question. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to rephrase it as a question. Who are Israelites? Who are they?
To whom pertaineth the adoption?
The adoption was given to Israel. So God adopted this nation. What else?
And the glory.
The glory came to Israel. What else?
And the covenants.
The covenants, he didn't make them with no other nation. He only made them with Israel. Go ahead.
And the giving of the law.
Israel has the job to give the law, not the Pope, not Rome, not Vatican. Go ahead.
And of the servants of God.
And Israel is the church with the services of God. Go ahead.
And the promises.
And we the one with the promises. And concerning the flesh, go ahead.
Whose are the fathers.
Uh-huh.
And of whom are concerning the flesh Christ came.
Right, and when you want to start talking about, you want to take it on that level, you know what I mean? Like, well, Jesus came through us too. So, brothers and sisters, I hope that we got some understanding today. Israel, the Church of Jesus, and that was part 1. And I appreciate your time. What else we got?
Do the Bibles first?
Yeah, we're gonna do that. No, we got.
We want to do that later. They ain't give me the announcements.
Oh, announcements. Let's first talk about this room. So, look, we're gonna try this. It is really, honestly, the whole time, pretty much, kind of been my call. And when I say that, Elijah don't be here. So he talks to me. I tell him what I see, what I don't see. You know what I mean? So we here have to be conscious of what's going on. Like, for example, y'all are, first of all, we pretty much max the capacity of this room right now. With that being said, we could get out like that. You know what I mean? So you got to keep that in mind. I am going to attempt again next Sabbath to do one lesson. You got to stay posted because that might change. We might get a phone call from the hotel, whatever. In the meantime, in between time, we are diligently working to find us a building. Now, when I say building, I don't necessarily mean a storefront. That'd be nice, but I know we got a budget, and New York does not fit the Israel Church of Jesus budget. I don't care how you look at it, because I mean, everywhere else in the United States is a heck of a lot cheaper than this place, and I know the numbers everywhere else we be at. You know what I'm saying? And when I heard how much Sister Lisa's doing very hard, working very hard. When I heard what Elijah told her, I was like, dang, y'all get a lot of money to start. That's what I'm telling you something, because I've been around and don't nobody else get as much money as the budget is allowing for. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, your budget, what you got is what Philly came out of price wise. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? But obviously not space wise. And so so that I don't get mad, confusion, if you guys run across anything, I don't necessarily want to put money out there wise. So let me tell you what Lisa and I begin to start thinking outside the box to do. We're looking for a spot that can fit us regardless of what it is.
What's the zone?
If it's an apartment building. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll use the apartment. Like, we thinking outside the box. Because our budget ain't great. If you want to really know, I'll talk to you. We can talk off camera. I can tell you what the price range is. But do not send me nothing. Send it to her. You know what I'm saying? Because then you send it to me and I'm not going to look at it. Like, it's not that I'm not going to want to look at it. It's just it's going to be too much. So, but look, as I'm saying, don't make this just her. You know what I'm saying?
This New York City, though.
Yeah. No, it doesn't have to be Queens.
Borough, right?
It could be in different boroughs. It could be, but consider this though. We all drove to church pretty much today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Parking pretty darn expensive in New York, right? So it ain't like you just looking for a building. You see what I'm saying? You looking for somewhere to be.
This is the best location for parking.
I'm just saying, you looking for somewhere to be. That's not a building. You looking for you want the whole ambiance. You might want building, parking, neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? All of that. You know what I mean? You want all of that. And so that's the answer to that. So hopefully that help y'all see what y'all doing. And we trying to get y'all out of here because we're not going to keep doing this. Also, I'll have my crew come up next week to hand out y'all baptism Bibles because I'm just playing. No, honestly, we usually do the giveaway second or third Sunday in August. We still plan on doing that in Philly. But it's probably gonna be drive-by, like no picnic or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Nah, we can't. They don't let us. It's still the social distance crowd. They don't let us be out there with a whole bunch of little kids with a bouncing ball playing back there. Right. The court, they took the rims down. So I mean, so when I see the rims come back, I'm gonna know we can go back and play. Right. But we still probably plan on doing that. And like I said, we're gonna do drive-by. So what I would like for New York to do is to figure out how you guys pull off a clothing giveaway for 2021. We're not gonna try to pull it off this year. We might can't even pull it off. You know what I'm saying? But it's a back to school, and it's really about reaching out to the poor and trying to be more consistent at doing that. And that's where we kind of start. And it's / church picnic day too. So, kind of start thinking about places where y'all, like, we don't know New York. The people who come here, we just don't have no clue. And this place is not landscaped like any other place, so we can't just walk around and figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So we will need y'all assistance on something like that. So you got to think. Go ahead.
So, just so you know, that park that's on Conduit, like the major intersection over here.
Yeah.
That hotel that's right there.
Yeah.
About a third of that hotel is for home. So we was just going there.
Okay. That's very good. That's very good. Y'all need to just go to that park one day anyway, huh? Just do a little picnic on Sunday or something, or whatever you call it, barbecue. Y'all just hook up and go there, and then maybe y'all might mess around and mingle with the people anyway. And then as we start doing this, it won't be their first time seeing you. But that's neither here nor there. So yeah, so that's just something ideally because everything that goes on in Philly, we pretty much say y'all gotta come down, and that's okay. Like Indianapolis, Cincinnati does that. You know what I mean? But you guys are moving. You guys are growing. This is the largest city in the United States. Like we ain't gonna be able to house y'all in a minute. You understand what I'm saying? Like we ain't gonna be able to house us and y'all in a minute. You know, we can still do it now. So I'm saying that we are trying to make it to where y'all ain't gotta always come down to New York for the feast. And we love y'all. No, we love y'all. But wouldn't you love to have a drink in New York for the feast and then go home? No?
He said no.
Philly, hey. We silly and brotherly love. No. So, well, like I say, first thing first, the first thing we need to do is find a location. So make sure y'all keep your eyes open for that. Also, DC is opening up next week. So y'all will see less of Brother Josh. Sorry, he does live in DC. He'll probably be teaching there twice a Sabbath, but that's still a good thing because the work that he put in here has allowed him to be, you know what I'm saying, preparing himself for that task at hand. So y'all won't see as much of him. And also, so we had a baptism, and man, I ain't even finished doing what I was gonna do.
May 23rd.
No, I ain't talking about that. So what I'm gonna ask is for I'm gonna call the names out who got. First of all, Dennis and Keisha.
Yeah, I already know.
Sorry. What had happened was Elijah left his Bible in Gary, so there went yours. And I don't know. I told my son to grab all the Bibles, and he only grabbed me 3. And I know I bought like 4 or 5 of the smaller ones. And so, since photogenically it looks better to have the 7 people who just got baptized on one picture whole Bible together, then we're gonna give them there. But as a special treat to my beautiful brother and sister, I will personally give you Bibles out of my own home that cost more than these, that look better than these, and you would definitely appreciate it. Because I think if you can read small words, you probably gonna get a Schofield. So I'm gonna look out for you, but I'm sorry, just not today. Okay? You cool with that too, Dennis? All right. So with that being said, let's start handing out these Bibles here. And these are our baptismal Bibles. And our first Bible, of course, is gonna go to Sister Dira. Congratulations on your baptism. You can take a picture. I mean, I know y'all want to take a picture. You can stand there if you want to. All right. Yes. Then Sister Brenda.
Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah, with the Bible.
Are you cool today, though? You straight today? You got the face on today.
Man,
You got
I'm
the face
gonna
on
screw
today.
this
She
brother
cool.
name up, so I'm just gonna say Brother Keisha husband. Sister Keisha husband. Say it, how you say it? Huh?
Sure.
Call him what? Shit. Oh, I can do that.
All right.
Where it go? Okay, no problem. Well, here you can just honorably take his Bible for him. This one go to him. Oh yeah, I tried to get the men some bigger ones.
That's not right.
No, it is. It is. That means you gonna